a friend of his who's got some issues and needs Don's legal advice. So Don sent his apologies, and he can't make it this evening. Now, as that just started recording, I have to double check everything nowadays. Yes. Right. So we're off, we're live, and we are recording. That's pretty good. I'm joined this evening by
Prajna. You can never pronounce Prajna.
Prajna. I'm getting it. Prajna.
Excellent.
We've got a few other people who are going to be joining us. Don't worry, Dommy's coming back. We're just keeping his seat warm. That's it. And it's all good experience and good practice for the likes of me. And Robo Hippie is also with us in the background. Are you there, Robo? No, apparently Robo.
Yeah, I am. I just had a slow mouse.
Slow mouse? Oh.
Yeah, the mouse did it.
Okay, man. Okay. Right, so there might not be too many of us actually with us yet because we've only just put this out. I've just been tagged in photographs, so that's not me. Right, so what we're going to talk about this evening, well, that's pretty much up to us, really. That's what it's all about. If you are out there, and I see people starting to log in, which is really good, if you are out there and listening and you do want to join us, add myself, Bob's Backyard, okay, Bob's Backyard, BOBS BACKYARD, Bob's Backyard, and I'll bring you into the call. Just give me a little bit of a text message as well if you can. You know, like when you add me, saying bring me in, because I'm trying to look at 3 screens simultaneously at the moment. So I said we were going to have Dawn join us. Now, I don't know if Dawn is already joined us. I knew she needed a little bit of time to sort herself out and do things. So I don't know if she's actually there, but she may just jump in at any moment. She is on the call with us currently.
She is on the call. I can see her there.
Yeah.
Hello, I'm here.
Yay. So I suppose we should all just introduce ourselves. I'm Bob from Bob's Backyard. My real name's Paul, Paul Hayden. Some people know me as that. I'm one of the co-creators, along with the rest of you, because it hasn't been fully created yet, of the Darkcity Radio. So that's where I'm up to. Done a few little bits and pieces. One thing I will mention is the Ashton Allotment Action Group. I'll mention a little bit about that later. So that's me. We'll go around in a circle. Robo Hippie, do you want to tell these good people out there in the world of internet radio and maybe beyond?
Yep, I'm Robo Hippie. My name's James. What do I do? By the way, I am that I am. That'll do me. I'm banging the desk.
Okay, I'm Dawn. I'm an activist for truth, so to speak, for want of a better term. I have experience in the past working in radio. I worked with Dan Bedondi before and has Truth Radio as his European correspondent. So, hello everybody.
And I'm Prajna, and my real name is Prajna. This is one of the great things, is what's real about a name anyway. Surely a name is just a label that you put on something.
Yeah, I'll go with that one.
Good point.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll go with that one, man.
You get stopped by these coppers and they say, what's your name? And you say Prajna Pranab. And they say, what's your real name? And this is the thing, is that there's nothing at all real about the name. The name is that names work in our heads, but we're never actually meeting names ever. We're never shaking hands with names. We're never giving them a hug.
I actually went to a school. I won't mention the name of the school. It was a proof school, though. And with a lad called Mouse. His surname was Mouse, and his parents thought it was funny to call him Michael. The number of times he was stopped back in the day and got himself quite a slap Because they didn't beat you to death then. They just used to slap you around a little bit. I think as the police have got more paramilitary, they're how can I say, the unlawful hand of them has got a little bit heavier. But yeah, so I'm sure you've dropped into problems with your name, Prajna.
It's not the name really that gives a problem. The problem is that they don't even understand the very words that they're saying. You know, they say crazy things like, I caution you that it may harm your defence if you fail to say now something that you later rely on in court. Well, that's an opening for me, isn't it? I mean, how long do they want to sit there? How much paper have they got to handle? That kind of thing. The problem is that we're not seeing things for what they are. They're around us. They're so familiar with us that we don't know what they are. People talk about this thing called a sixth sense. Well, actually, you do have a sixth sense, and hardly anybody knows what its name is. They think this is all something to do with ESP and all that kind of thing. But actually, you've got a sixth sense that is actually your very first sense. It's the one that you use most unconsciously. You're not even aware of it, and I would say that certainly nobody out there knows what its name is. If you talk to a neurologist or someone like that, they'll tell you what it is. It's called proprioception. Have you ever heard of it before?
No, I don't think I have.
Right. It's actually quite simple, and it's quite obvious when I draw your attention to it. If you were to close your eyes and put your hand out in front of you, you can feel where in space your hand is. Now, that's not feeling as in touch or feeling as in emotions. That's a body awareness, a spatial awareness. And it's all tied in with your balance in your ears and all sorts of things like that. And it's another complete sense. But because it's so close to us, because we're so unconscious, it's so natural to us, we don't even see it until someone draws our attention to it. And in fact, we're so unconscious of it that most people don't even have a name for that sixth sense. Do you see?
Yes, I have experienced it. Again, I said I've mentioned the Ashton Allotment Action Group and the Dig It coming up this weekend, because there's a lot of us coming together, and it really buzzes me up that people at least have begin to grasp the concept of what we're trying to get across here. But they built a hill. It's a sizable hill. You can't miss it off the Google satellite. You really can't. And I've had to actually take people who drive past it every day while they were building it, step by step, and say, that hill there, and wow, where did that come from? These are local people. So I'm really aware of what you're talking about, Prajna. I haven't got the study that you've got. I couldn't give it its names or perhaps.
That's because these things are obvious. They're obvious to all of us when we notice them. There was a philosopher and poet, wonderful guy called Khalil Gibran. Maybe a lot of people have read his little book called The Prophet.
Khalil Gibran. It's one of the only books I have read.
Right. Well, one of the things he says is that sometimes all that is needed is for people to state the obvious in simple terms before people will see it. And a great deal of trouble is being gone to with all this Tavistock Institute, all the other propaganda and so on, is trying to get us to overlook the obvious, to see it wrapped up in a whole lot of ideas and concepts and arguments and discussions, and you're welcome to your opinions and all this kind of thing, all wrapped up so that you don't see what the truth is inside. The truth is that we're poisoning everybody in all our food. We've got wars going on all over the planet, or the governments are at war with all the people, as by nature governments always are. We don't see the obvious, and this is our only problem. When we go into court, you're not dealing with the obvious truth. The first thing they say is, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Well, you can only look the judge squarely in the eyes and say, Your Honour, I don't know the whole truth, and I don't believe there's anybody on the planet who knows the whole truth about anything. And if you get me to swear that, then immediately I've committed perjury. And once I've done that, you don't have to listen to a single further word that I say. And in court, you're dealing with fictions. That's why they can wrap you all up in circles and do whatever they choose to do, and even seem to appear to justify what they're doing, unless you look at the obvious. The obvious is they don't want the truth. They haven't got time for the truth. And once they start telling the truth about you, in your case, in your life, in the problem that you have fitting into their corrupt system, once they start telling the truth about that, all the truth comes out about everything else.
Yeah, it's just like when an officer says to you do you understand? They're wanting you to stand under, rather. So you should never say you understand. If anything,
right, but even they don't understand that understanding, Dawn.
I didn't catch that.
Even the cops don't understand that understanding, though.
Well, they do. The police are understanding the authority that they believe they've got from their authority. They are understanding the caution or the command. I am comprehending what that officer is saying, but I am not standing under his caution or his command. So
do you know, I found out something. I found out something the other day.
I've turned that round on a couple of times, Prajna, and I mean, I was with one that's known about locally. I was asked by the police to go and open a shipping container that I had. They were looking for stolen goods. And as a man of law, I'm quite happy to assist any officer in any case of loss or harm, deception or breach of someone's peace. So I was quite happy to do that. I went down and I opened it up, and I walked into, after it, the police were quite happy. It was empty, the container I had. They were quite happy, and I just said, I'll just say goodbye to the lads. And the officer in charge, he said, right, okay. Obviously he's acting as a constable. Yes, that's fine. I've been asked to go there. I'd gone there. I walked into the office, and this policeman in plain clothes, unidentified to me. I said, all right, lads, are you all okay? You don't need solicitors. You don't need any help or anything like that. You're all right. You want anything from the sandwich shop? I'm getting off me now. And this, well, like I say, he was a policeman, but only made known to me later. He said, nobody's leaving this office. I said, okay, Mr. Nobody, you go out there and speak to your authority, and let's find out. And he walked out then. As he walked out the door, and I shouldn't have said it, but I couldn't help myself. I said, look, lads, there goes Mr. Nobody. Because he just said nobody's leaving, and this agitated him somewhat. And then they gathered round, a group of about 5 or 6 of them, and he said, Paul, can we have a word? I said, certainly you can. So, you know, remember, he's already said you're not leaving that room. Now I'm invited out of that room by them. I walk out of the room, and they kind of crowd round me, and I put my hand out in front of me. I said, you have no authority over me. Now make space. You're intimidating me. And they all stepped back, and he said, what is your problem? I said, I have not got a problem. I am willing to assist you in anything pertaining to loss, harm, deception or breach of the peace, and after that you have no authority. And the officer in charge looked, but all the others kind of had a grin on the face. He looked right into my eyes and said, you can go. And I walked out. From that moment on, every single one of those men who thought they knew how to do it started to learn how to do it, because none of them wanted to sit in that office. They were all like, why is he gone? Including the policeman. The other policemen were in as much shock as the lads who were sat in the office. So you can turn it round. I've experienced it. You can. There are police officers out there amongst there are constables. They are there, and they're doing what they can, I suppose. I do feel they are a minority. Many more of them are being educated each day. Without a doubt. There is a manual that's gone round, or a leaflet, how to deal with a freeman. So, yeah, these people, although I don't consider myself one, to me it's a bit like going into church. You might as well call it a court, or going into court. You might as well know it's a church. It's not actually a court of law. A court of law is set up completely differently. I do believe Canada still has a court of law, often mistaken for and called, and this is what troubles me often with some of these movements, they're calling it common law. We need to have a common law court. Where is common law? I don't know any common law. I know that all law is common to all, if that's what they're talking about. But if that's what they're talking about, why don't they say that? Why do they try and make up something else? Common law, it's for the common people. No, it's not for the common people. It means no one is exempt. It means every man, woman and child, king, pauper, doesn't matter. Everyone, common. I mean, nobody gets away with it. Your government can't turn around and say, you can't go and kill someone because you don't like them, and then go and kill someone else because they disagree with them. I mean, they can't do that. Under law, we have some acts and statutes which are lawful acts and statutes because they're supported in law. No loss, no harm, no deception, no breach of the peace. And there's a couple I've ranted on. The War Act and the Misuse of Drugs Act. These are my two favourites. Go on, Parajna.
There's this thing about rules. If a rule is according to my nature, then why do I need a rule? Because, it's the way that naturally I would be. I don't need a rule to tell me how naturally to be. All I need to do is get to know myself so that I behave according to my nature. Then no rule is required. And not only that, if you say I need a rule that's not in line with my nature, then fuck your rule, because I'm not going to live other than according to my nature. I was born to live according to my nature. So all of these laws, all of these rules, in the end, the law is only what you and I, Bob, in this moment, decide between us that it is. That's all the law is. The problem is, everyone's looking into all of these methods and so on, and staying in honor and going back to the Magna Carta and pulling in maritime law and commercial law and trusts and executors and all kinds of things in the hope of trying to win against this corrupt system. But you've got to remember, the system's corrupt. It doesn't matter whether you print stuff on blue paper and put penny stamps in the corners or anything like that. The system is corrupt. It's their club, and you're not a member of the club. So the thing is, until we say, no, hang on, we can look after ourselves. Thank you very much. What are you doing interfering? What are you doing taxing us for your corrupt system? We're not corrupt. We're trying to be creative. Yeah, that's my position. That's my side on all of this law stuff. You can throw it all out the window. Don't bury yourself in books. Yes, it is good to know. Do you know what's good to know? Some of their codes of practice. Because as soon as they start stepping outside of that, you say, no, hang on. You guys are not following the rules. You guys are not even following your own rules. How can you start imposing rules on someone else if you won't follow the rules? So it's worth knowing certainly the rules that bind them, not because you think rules bind you. What need do you have of rules if you're acting according to your nature? The main problem and the main stumbling block for everyone is they don't know their nature. They're trying to become something. And in order to become something, something. It means you've got an aim and an ambition and something in your mind, but it's not actually your mind that's living in this world. It's all the rest of you. Your mind just tags along. It comments on things after they happen. So the first step for everybody is to get to know who they really are. When you're acting according to who you really are, you need no rules, not even rules of physics anymore when you're a master of it.
We have one rule. We have one rule. In fact, there's two rules. Rule number one is there are no rules. Rule number two, only to be opened in dire emergency. And inside rule number two, it says as above. So, yeah, the only rule I have, man. I mean, it's people think it's a bit crazy, or maybe they kind of say it's a bit like being an anarchist. But no, I think you're touching on. Well, I know you're touching on natural law. I know that.
Well, it is.
We're only 25 minutes in, which is brilliant. Normally, I think we'd have. For me, I'm trying to show people that we're actually trying to reinstate something that we've more than likely never had. I don't think we've ever had.
Well, yes.
Law that's in common to all. I don't think that's ever happened. And trying to dig it out of the past, well, you might as well look at the myth and legend, because myth and legend would be more accurate than the corrupted system that we've known already. I'm quite aware that I am born of that corrupt system. I was born into it, at least. For the majority of my life, I lived a lie created by myself, because I did not want to see the truth. And when I did see the truth, it broke me. It left me a broken man. It did. I had to rebuild.
Scary, yeah, sure.
I had to. It was very scary. But I rebuilt myself piece by piece. I'm aware of that. I see, though, in a lot of cases, when someone goes through a change in their lives, or a realization, or an awakening, or a leap in your consciousness, whatever you want to call it, it's a difficult time. People seem to think that the consciousness awakening, we're just all going to sit round and people are going to turn up and they will enlighten us. It would be wonderful. I'm telling you, I'm a bit of an hard man, me. I have been a bit of an hard man in my life, you know what I mean? I don't mean I went out and threatened people or anything like that, but you brought it to my door looking for it, and you get it, you know, whatever it was you were looking for. Bring it to my door, and I will tell you something. Out of all the ruckuses I've been in, all the stuff I've been through, this is the integration of my own energies internally.
Exactly.
My own internal energies has been the hardest thing I've ever had to do, and I'm still. This is
the whole thing. This is the whole thing, Bob. You stuck it right on the head, and that is that you cannot expect to find any peace out there until you find peace inside yourself.
Yeah, one must be it to recognise it. I agree with that.
And who's got peace? Their minds are racing all the time. Whatever they're doing, you know, they're peeling the carrots. Their mind is busy commenting on what they're doing. So their attention is not even on the peeling. Their mind's attention seems to be on that, and their attention is on their mind.
Well, for me to step out of the delusion I was in, created by my own illusion, like I say, I have no blame here, is to also to recognise that where there is murder going on, or there is murder in the minds of others, and their actions are actually being manifested on this plane of existence where I live, then I'm not at peace. I'm at war. Now, how I conduct myself in war is my affair, but I'm not at peace. I'm not looking for it. Why would I look for peace? Peace will appear magically in the absence of suffering, in the absence of pain, in the absence of war. I would not need to seek it. It's already here. This one is at peace. It's us. who are killing one another. It's us who are having it to go on.
Sure we are. Because we're not at peace yet.
Yeah. So, we have work to do.
Except to the extent that
I'm liking it.
Yeah.
Go on.
Except to the extent that we are already at peace.
Oh, yeah, but I like my war.
That's why we have war, because people love it.
No, well, look, you see, I suppose really I'm not talking.
They played all these war games as kids, cowboys and Indians and all kinds of things. It's been highly promoted for a long time as war.
In all fairness, I don't think I'm really talking about war. I'm actually talking about the next oncoming massacre. That's, I don't think, war's not something like that. But that's how I see it. And by massacre, I don't mean dead people. I mean the transition of energy, of thought, of consciousness.
Right. Sure.
That's what I'm on about. I mean, I have half of my meditation time is spent in an area known as the blood fields of the dead. Of an area of conflict, and that's where I take my conflict to where it is welcome and rejoiced. When you face someone on the field of conflict, you've got to know why you're there. You have to know why.
Well, do you know the papers are trying to stir up a riot and rebellion now, and the unions are trying to stir up a riot and a rebellion. They're trying to push the button now and push things into to civil war, and we've got to go around firmly establishing civil peace wherever we each individually have an effect. Because a revolution has got to be a different kind of revolution this time round.
Anybody else want to chip in there? Me and Peshner seem to be on a bit of a roll here, don't we, mate?
I'm flooded with thoughts. It'll come out in a bit.
My mind.
Yeah, it's pretty much the same. Carry on. I'll chip in if I come up with anything.
Oh no! When you can't actually pull us up, Peshner, we might actually be getting on it. Be careful.
There was one bit where you were saying. Where you were saying something, and I was thinking Crowley when he got loads of donations and he was supposed to be doing something and went and bought loads of paint and put "Do What Thou Will" on the cliffs of Dover. Now, I'm not into all the stuff that Crowley did and stuff, but just that on its own, I think it's called the Law of Thelma or something. Do what thou will, which was basically. The roots of what you were saying. There is an extension of it, but that just came into my mind as you were talking.
Yes, but Crowley wasn't being entirely honest with people. Yes, do what thou wilt, but first you have to find who the thou is. And this is the problem is, everybody is talking about intention. It's like all these people who go around and give Reiki and so on. And I say, those people don't know any fucking thing. They don't know the first fucking thing about energy. They've spent about half an hour with someone.
I was referring it to when you said, what was it? Your natural self, your natural something, yeah? I was referring to that phrase, to sort of like divine will, which was the same thing as, similar to what you were saying. That's all I just wanted to bring across.
It is in the end, at the center, it is all the same thing. It is thy will. It is the natural will of who you naturally are. But most of the time, that's not the will that drives people. Most of the time, the will that drives people when they look deeply enough into it is ego. Is
unnatural.
Ego. This false created self, this self that is either succeeding or failing at being the person that they want to be. That's what ego is.
Saying that though, is the ego, yeah, from like a central point, that natural divine being, divine will thing, yeah. Ego would be an aspect of that oneness, wouldn't it? So it'd have to be inclusive.
Yeah, I was kind of just jump in quick and say, my ego says, will you stop beating on it? It's left you alone for a long time now. Stop blaming my ego.
My ego.
I've given it so many jobs to do to keep it. You know, the last one I actually said to it is when the ego approached me, I said, go and incarnate love to everyone on earth, ego. Now, listen, don't tell me ego. Don't tell me ego, Preston, right? But I know that's impossible. I know it's impossible. I just give it something to do, you know.
Have you ever noticed how violently ego always strikes back as soon as you start talking about ego? Because ego always knows what ego is. Nobody else does consciously. They don't understand what ego is. But ego knows, and you can bet whoever starts talking about ego is immediately going to jump in and correct them and say, but that's not what ego is. And you've got to have an ego. And if you didn't have an ego and all this kind of thing, and this is ego that's at it. Ego defined by Toller. I like his definition. He says that ego is a mind-made sense of self. A mind makes self.
Go on. Yeah, ego to me is only an idea of who you may be in the present. It's a fictitious character created by your mind. But it's my character and it's created by my mind. If for me to separate myself from an aspect of my mind is for me to separate myself. So I'm fully aware that most people do not have unification of aspects of themselves, and that they often project these outwardly into the world and call them evil or enemy. And they are not able to bring these different aspects, which there are many, ego just being one of these aspects. They are unable to actually bring these aspects internally with love or compassion or understanding because of the conflicts that they are currently living. When an individual is placed and lived as I did, which is my experience, is to be born in the camp of the liar, the cheat and the thief, who instruct me on how to be right and good and truthful and honourable, you see, who try and tell me. So I then rise against them. The battle is won. The black and white game of division, I have been coerced.
Who is the I? Who is the I that rises?
Oh, I am the one that came here to learn this.
But who is the I that rises up in response to things?
The I is the presence that you bring in the physical into the moment, which you're often not conscious of.
Is that I physical, or is it a mind?
Oh yes, you are physical. Yes, you are physical right now. Yes, and it is your consciousness from this physical moment that creates intention.
In the chat there, Bletcher's just said, "You are who you think you are." Did you say?
Yeah. Well, I'd actually say you are who you feel you are. I mean, the consciousness it can be anything you choose it to be. So that
this was the thing about this cogito ergo sum. I think therefore I am.
That is the multidimensional consciousness, isn't it? That you actually you exist in this dimension and a multitude of dimensions simultaneously, and that gets you round the divided consciousness. So the consciousness, if you choose to divide your consciousness, that's perfect. If you choose to be, no, I want to be a singular, that's also perfect, because you become a singular aspect of the multidimensional consciousness. So yeah, I tend to go for that I exist here now as this presence, and I also exist in a multitude of other dimensions that I may or may not be aware of, and I also have a presence in there, which will be completely different to this presence.
Do you know, Bob, I watched an excellent vid last night. You can find it on YouTube. Rupert Sheldrake, do you know him? He's actually a pretty famous biologist, and he's written all kinds of things. And it's about 20 minutes, half hour vid called The Science Delusion. The Science Delusion. And he talks about some really fascinating stuff, including this thing of being and consciousness and mind and so on. but also he talks about some of the big mistakes that science has made, that science, just declares these things, and actually nobody's ever looked to see if any of them are actually true or not. It's well worth watching. I should type the name of it. I'll type that into chat there.
Yeah, another bit from the chat, actually. I'm glad you pulled that back into my consciousness, because I'd gone on to adding and removing people from Skype, adding people to Skype and finding out whether they wanted to come in now or later. But I think there were a few of the bunch that we came across with Dawn in an impromptu chat session minutes before this show started. So that's nice.
It was totally random. I actually get flung into the chat, and multiple people. It
could have been something to do with me. I actually sat here and went, right, Pransner said he'd jump in. Right, come on, we need some more people. And I got pulled into that chat of about 15, 20 people or whatever it was.
Still with
and you happened to be one of them, Dawn, so I can't complain at that. That was one of the amazing synchronicities that seemed to happen most of my life. But just from the chat, it says Bletch is putting it, we are the 99.999999% of empty space. And I would agree, there is more space in the universe than anything else, without a doubt. And even between the physical...
Seems like a lot of people on Facebook have got a lot of space in their heads.
Well, that's a good thing, man. We can fit more light in there.
Well, that's true.
More information. Pump them full of information. Come on.
Yeah.
There's a wonderful story about a rich man who goes to... in fact, no, he's a professor of some sort. And he goes to this Zen master and says... I've come here to learn the secret and everything. And the Zen master says, well, would you like a cup of tea? And he said, yeah, okay. So the Zen master gets his cup out, and he's pouring tea into the cup, and he just keeps pouring and pouring. And eventually it overflows the cup, and it's all running down the sides. And you can see this professor getting more and more nervous. And eventually he bursts out and he says, look, stop. You can't fit any more in. The cup is full. And the Zen master just nodded and sent him away.
Yeah, a mate of mine, John Armitage, he actually works on a technique of compression, that you by compressing every molecule inside yourself, you actually make more space, and that's really kind of oopy. I think, is oopy a word I can use to do? It's a bit like doing drugs without the drugs. It really is. So yeah, to just basically so that the physical body can take on more light, and by that they're talking about I suppose what people would say a higher frequency of energy. It's not. I wouldn't say it is an higher frequency of energy. It seems to be able to. You can put your own frequency in there, rather than a higher or lower. We do seem to go through a lot of programming, I think is the word I'm looking for, ever from a very early age.
It surrounds us totally.
Yeah, and now, I mean, we're becoming more and more aware of this.
Yes.
Many of us more self-conscious of it. Like I say, and often it is shocking. Yeah, and I think a lot of the time, that's well, I know, a lot of the time they put that shock and awe there to stop you going any further. It's to turn you away from it. When I've looked back at things, it's to find out what the truth in any issue. I always try and go where everybody else is scared of going. You know, it's where other men fear to tread. And that's where I kind of do. And I've noticed that in myself. It's not something I've intentionally done. I don't go and put myself in harm's way, you know, intentionally. But my father, he was very anti-religious. And it turned out after years that his mum and dad were very religious, and they were separate. They separated, you see. And he had that issue. And it must be 10 years ago now. We went to a funeral, and me and my father were the last two people to go in. And I actually said to my dad, are you going in? He went, oh, no. No, he said, I can't go in there. I said, what is your actual problem you've got with religion? He said, it's God. I said, really? And he went, yeah, there isn't one. I said, there isn't one, Dad. And he went, no, there isn't one. I said, so you mean you're 68 years of age and you've still got a problem with nothing? That's the crack. You see, why do we go around having problems with things that are nothing to do with us? I used to have a bit of a joke with the Americans a long time ago in chat, that I'm not black, I'm not gay, I'm not religious. It's not my problem. It's not my problem. I don't want to get married to a man of another race. It's not my issue. If you are black, gay, or religious, and you want to do them things, then that's your issue. And if that's what you want to do, then it shouldn't be an issue. We seem as a race of humans, as far as I know, to be the only species that actually stops other members of our species doing something because we don't like it. You know? If a man...
As part of the conditioning that we've been under, like, for the artificial barriers they've brought in, like, in respect of, you've got religion to divide people up, you've got race to divide people up, you've got country, the borders and whatnot, going on, ethnic minorities or ethnic majorities. There's always going to be something, whether someone's fat, whether someone's skinny, there's always going to be something there that's going to cause that.
Bob, that was the thing that I loved about India, was that when you first get there, you think everything that you think is normal is strange in India. And after you've been in India for a while, you discover that everything in India, no matter how strange it is normal in India. And then you get to reassess what you think is normal. Do you know, most tribal people, Indians, Aborigines and so on, they have a time when children come of age and they push them out of the tribe, out of the society, so that they get to discover a couple of things. One is that nature looks after you, and the other one is that almost all of the world was all constructed of fictitious things, rules and conventions that had nothing to do with reality, and then they go back to the tribe again. This is dream.
That's not actually correct, Prajna. You can never leave the tribe. No, you can never leave the tribe, but there's certain areas. Well, yes. There's the birthing area, you see, where women go to give birth to the children, where the men don't go, and there's certain ceremony where the men don't go. So that's how it actually works. You know, you can never leave the tribe. Do you know?
But you go out of the society of it.
Yeah. You move into another part of the land. Yeah. But you're right. Yeah. You're right. I suppose we're trying to use the white man ideology to grasp it.
Yeah.
I've done India, man. I've done Australia as well. I've not really done Australia. I've not really done India. You need a long time to kind of get all of it. But I do, when you were saying it, I mean, you're so right. It's just, it gets stranger and stranger, and eventually you become strange, and it's really normal to be strange. I mean, to actually be the same as something there is weird. You know, if me and you walked down the street, both dressed identically, they'd think we were part of some religious order or cult. Yeah, and even that'd be accepted. And my favourite thing is that, and I didn't know this until I got there, the scariest thing was being recognised as a member of the rich elite. That was weird, right. Because I've always, you know, I didn't know I was a member of the rich elite. I really didn't. I mean, it sounds stupid to a lot of people, but I didn't think I was a member of the rich elite. I thought I was one of the peasant poor people, you know, who'd come from the streets, and I've worked hard, and I've got myself a nice home, and I had a beautiful family and all that, and it's all a lie. You know, I am a member of the rich elite. I'm a member of the Nazi organisation that's persecuting the world. And that was a bit of a biggie.
Not only that, but did you know, you remember when you ask for a chai, you say chai Malaga?
Kala chai. Kala chai.
Or kala chai, yeah, but you hear people saying, you hear people saying chai Malaga. And you know, I thought Malaga meant like please, or is it possible, or something like that. It wasn't till I got back from India. I was looking through a phrase book and I found the word Malaga in there. Do you know what it means?
No.
Go on.
It means fetch. It means fetch. And you know, you sit there and you say fetch tea, fetch colour Malaga, fetch food, you know, and so you were from the rich elite, from this rich fucking British Empire that the Indian used to being ordered about as if it was politeness. It's horrifying.
Well, or direct. Or very direct, you know, very direct. I mean, I met people in India that were more, I would say, prejudiced and racist. Or that's the way they appear. And they're not. They're just speaking directly without this proper the way to do it. You know, they don't tend to talk around things. You know, you don't talk about refrigerators and washing machines and the price of fish in Tesco's. It just doesn't happen. They talk about things that mean something to them. They talk about their lives and their integration with whatever it may be, you know. And that is, it takes a while, I must admit. And it's not for everyone. We've had to rescue a few people who got to India and gone, oh, my God.
I had to rescue a girl. When I was in Nepal, she was going nuts at home in Switzerland, and so the family thought it would be a good idea just to ship her out to Lhasa, you know, in the middle of this fucking war zone, and all kinds, God knows what stuff, but all kinds of stuff happened to her, and I met her in Nepal, and wow, she, you know, took quite a lot of sorting out, really.
Just for anybody who's listening and they ever consider India, really there are ways. Don't go via your travel agent. The hardest thing is the visa, and if you know what you're doing, to get a visa is really quite simple. You need to have an address in India, and that can be an hotel. You don't have to be staying in that hotel all the time you're there. That's just to be where you arrive at India. You must spend one night there. And then they have the paper trail, which is quite fun. It's how they'd find you if anything untoward happened. You move from one place to another, and each place where you stay, you rent a hotel, they will then fill in paperwork and hand it to the police station that evening. Remember, it's not
passport.
Yeah, and each time you have to show your passport in each one you get to for your identification. That's right. And it's how they find you. Now, look, beware if you're going to India and you're going to rent a place off someone who's not going to do that, because they do purges on it, especially around Kerala in India. So, you know, you can do it very, very cheap anyway. By ringing them an Indian hotel, they are there on the internet, and booking yourself into that hotel. You can do it over the internet. Now, what will happen is they'll say to you, yes, that's fine. But when you arrive, there might not be a room. You might not have a room. But they will then take you to another place in that area, and all the paperwork gets done, and that's fine. And what you've done is you've circumnavigated the agent, and that visa for 6 months, I think they're about £50 now to get that done. And then you need a flight. Once you've done that, what would you? I don't know how long it is since you've been Prajna, but you'd pay maybe 450 rupees for a double room with a shower.
Well, it's 10 years since I was there.
Ah, right. Well,
shall I give them a little idea?
You would have paid a lot less.
Well, because I have got a poem that I wrote about India. It's called Namaste Delhi. Namaste Delhi. What can I say? Your streets are so smelly, complete disarray, with dirty, uneven trip smells you can taste, and a million to live off the things that we waste. So it's first to the airport, no garland of flowers, just a queue for the luggage, for hours and hours pacing the #1 baggage claim floor with an angel who suffered this 4 times before. Then it's chai and a taxi, prepaid's the best, and in search of Par Ganj for a shower and a rest. Did I say rest? Well, the room's like a prison and the shower's a joke, but we roll up a spliff and we each take a toke, and a plan starts to form as we sit there and smoke. So we leave Chrissy sleeping while Angel and I take a stroll round the market and jump at each cry, every horn, bell and klaxon that fights to get by. And I'll mention in passing, since that's what we do, a bubbling cauldron of mutton hoof stew, which guessed from its colour is boiling for glue, but neither is sure if our surmise is true. We arrived in the morning in quiet and cool, though I can't really say it was quiet at all. By the time that we'd wandered and found our way back, the heat was beginning to force me to crack. So I went to my room and I lay on my bed, energy so low, I was that far off dead. I thought I could sleep through the noise of the day, but it all seemed so urgent and not far away. But I must have been sleeping, because later a man came into the room and he took down the fan, and the one that he left to stand in its place could have won the cup in the Isle of Wight race. There's more to this story that's yet to be written. I still haven't got to the interesting bit. I've only expressed in an over-brief way the sights, smells and sounds of our very first day. There you go.
Brilliant. That really does sum it up, man. You're quite right. Yeah, wonderful place to visit. And I was saying, that's kind of took me there, that one. It's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Yes, it is very.
So you can do the technical stuff, like.
I'm just thinking of anybody else who's out there, Brandon, who might be thinking now, well, it's all right for you two, you're there, and my thing is to just trying to get over to them how incredibly cheap it can be to go there. You can get a flight, a return flight, 6 months, maybe £550, and once you're there, it's going to cost you for 2 of you for a double room and a shower ensuite room. In an Indian hotel, of course, not a Western hotel, it's probably going to cost you £5, maybe £5.50 a night for the 2 of you.
And then the guest houses are even cheaper.
Oh, well. Yes, I'm giving people, you can do, if you get a group of you together and you want to rent a place, the longer you stay, the cheaper it gets, literally. What you will pay for a week, you pay for a fortnight, you get for a month. What you pay for a month, you get for 2 months, and if you rent for 6 months, you get it for what you pay for the 2. It just progressively gets cheaper. The longer you stay there, the more you know. Every time you visit the place, doesn't matter how long you've been away, they remember you. My favourite thing.
I'll tell you that. Do you know, most people, they go to India and classically they just go from place to place, and all they ever see of India is beggars, because as soon as you arrive somewhere, you're mobbed by beggars and touts. Well, when you're standing there with your backpack on and all that kind of stuff, it's obvious. But when you've been somewhere for a while, you start to get to know the people, and the place starts to get to know you, and that's when the magic of India really happens. When you're just going from place to place, it's you won't get to know India at all. Really.
Yeah, a guy called Reg, a Cockney that's been there for years, and he actually said, give it a fortnight, let the colour of India get into you, and he was right. You need to get the white colour off you. and you need to be able to see the colour that India really is. I know I've met people and they can't get away. There's some, what are the children begging in the street and stuff. The hardest thing is not to give them anything. You can't give them anything. Give them water, maybe give them sweets. But yeah, it's so hard not to. And if you get stuck in that, India will break your heart. It will break your heart. I've sat there and cried. But I'll tell you, once you get that colour, it doesn't matter how terrible it is. You're looking at it through a beautiful frame.
You see things. You start to suspend your judgment and realise that people see things in a different way and understand things in a different way. Yeah. It's a land of the most amazing paradoxes, most incredible paradoxes, and there is this incredible culture shock when you arrive in India. But that's a good thing. We all need it. We all need to look at our idea of normal and let go of it. And we need to let go of the idea of what is normal for ourselves as well. People. This is why people feel so uncomfortable living in any situation, because they say, this is not normal for me. Yeah? In India, your situation is so overwhelming that you have to adapt to it rather than force it to adapt to you or irk yourself if it doesn't.
Yeah, I'm very doable as well, man. Very doable. I mean, if you think what a lot of people... You mentioned about Reiki. I tell you what, we've come right onto the hour, Prajna. Shall I put a bit of music on and we can grab a cup of tea? And then, is that cool?
Go if you like.
Yeah.
Yeah, excellent.
I should have had some really Indian. But I'm going to play... I think it's about 7 minutes, this. And it was kind of donated to us to play on the radio by a friend of ours of Hosto. So I'm gonna play this and see what you all think of it. We'll be back in about 5 minutes.
It's a matter of importance to me that you be lucid and aware of what you're able to be. Since I was able to see the lack of limits, I've been infinite, and this is indiscriminate. Isn't narcissistic. Arson isn't always meant to be destructive, it's an art form. This is my attempt to start the fire that makes you art more, and logic less, cause logic since the dollar has been off of it. I'm offering a sentence that could bring you back to sanity. Empathic but emphatically, I plan to see you mastering the art of your existence so that everyone can benefit. Then on and fractally it blossoms into everything, and mindfully we intervene, i.e. create reality. I used to hate this word, but now I know its definition, and I've learned to trust my family. I see all 7 billion, so I deem it time to DMT you all with my opinion, and I pray to my creators that just one of you will listen, cause the light and divine truth was always inside you. I'm here to remind you that you are not what confines you. You've traveled through time to arrive at this line, and now you are in a vessel designed to invent and define truth. Illusion divides you, but you are the limitless vine through which everything vibes through, and I'm here to remind you that you are the light and divine truth. It's always inside you. I'm here to remind you that you are not what confines you. You traveled through time to arrive at this line, and now you are in a vessel designed to invent and define truth. Illusion divides you, but you are the limitless vine through which everything vibes through, and I'm here to remind you that you are... I am the Illuminati of my own reality. I am not afraid of those who benefit from apathy. I am not a slave to any entity or anything. My mission as a cell is reconnecting us with everything. Inevitably, everything is bound to evolve, cause that's the nature of the fractal that we're also involved with, revolving around a nucleus that nuclearly powers us. But I've comprised a theory that suggests we really power it. Power is the act of understanding what you're standing on. This is not the planet I was born from. No, the Mastodon is part of me. I'm partially a particle lost, time and space, but I'll remember when they're blasting me off that I am everything. Free from the pendulum I may never be, but I control my darkness just enough to make a friend of it. Addendumless, my Bible is remembering the ultimate. Then every channeled verse is holy text because we come from it. And every son and daughter is my bleeding hearted counterpart. So I will find the others and remind them that we have a heart. You're part of God whenever you remember, and I'm sure now endeavoring forever on the quest of showing more how the light and divine truth was always inside you. I'm here to remind you that you are not what confines you. You traveled through time to arrive at this line, and now you are in a vessel designed to invent and define truth. Illusion divides you, but you are the limitless vine through which everything vibes through. I need only remind you that you are the light and divine truth. It's always inside you. I'm here to remind you that you are not what confines you. You traveled through time to arrive at this line, and now you are in a vessel designed to invent and define truth. Illusion divides you, but you are the limitless vine through which everything vibes through. And I'm here to remind you that you are God. I'm here to remind you that you are the light and divine truth. It's always inside you. And I'm here to remind you that you are not what confines you. You traveled through time to arrive at this line, and now you are in a vessel designed to invent and define truth. I need only remind you that you are God. I'm here to remind you that you are God. I'm only here to remind you that you are a magical turtle. Magical turtle.
A magical turtle. I love it how it ends. I just want to remind you all, you're a magical turtle. Right, it's
that cracks me up. It just cracks me up. It's got some special meaning to me as well. It's brilliant.
All I can actually see is Zach and Wah at the moment on my screen. So have you got the full info on those gentlemen?
What gentlemen?
No, I was talking to Jim. I was talking to Robo.
The information on the song.
Yeah.
Right, we'll get back to you in a minute.
I can't see it all there, and I wanted to get it right. So, anyway, that was handed over to us by, Vosto. We've been joined tonight by Robo Hippie, Prashna, and myself, Bob, or Paul. Call me what you like, as long as it's not. Anyway, and Dawn's been popping in and out. Dawn's another one of the Dark City crew. It's good to have her on board. Didn't really get to say that earlier on, but if she's out there listening, she'll hear me, or I'll repeat myself. I like repeating good things. Right, I'm just he's trying to find that information, and it's not there because when they give us the recording, there's no information in it. So I can actually see Robo now scurrying about on the
Vosto.
Yeah, he's a bad man.
Name your tracks. I've been doing that. I've been doing that this afternoon on the ones that I've done.
Yeah, name your tracks, Vosto. Put some information on it. It's dead difficult. But yeah, they've. We're going to put links and stuff in there to them guys, and a lot of the stuff you hear being played during the day and stuff. If you pop in and out, and there's nothing on live, and we've got music. This is all music that's been given to us, or saying given to us. People have said, "Here, play this. It's mine. I've done it. I made it." And that's a lot of that has come from S-Man, who approached Dom. So we're playing a lot of that.
If you go onto the Dark City website, www.darkcity.bobsbackyard.co.uk, I struggle with that, and I constructed it. Co-created it, but if you click on the artist page, there's a video there from S-Man. You can watch on YouTube. Absolutely brilliant music. One of my favourite of all time 10 tracks. Definitely.
Yeah, it's definitely good, isn't it? I'd never come across the guy until then, so we're already making connections, which are really cool. There's another guy there who we play quite a lot of, Albert Clark. That is actually music off Bob's Backyard. Albert said, yeah, do what you can with this, get it out there. So there's also work from Joe Figg, another good old mate of mine. Well, all of us really, our local group here in Ashton-under-Lyne, and he's done some amazing stuff. It really is. So we're kind of using some of his stuff because, you know, get it out there, and that's what it's all about.
Right. We've got text in here. We've not been watching the text. Bletch in the room says Zach and what army? He's a Canadian guy. That's the information I've got so far. This is not S-Man, is it? I got that totally wrong.
No, that's it's Zach and what army? Zach and what army?
Excuse me, I'll sit back and shut up for a minute.
And apparently he's a Canadian, and anyway, it's brilliant. That's what we think. We think it's really good. And where was I going down there? Yeah, Joe Figg, mate of ours down in London now. He's had a few health problems, so we wish you all the best, Joe. We keep playing. We've only played 4 of his tracks actually, but we want to throw some more in there. We're going to get a playlist off a Scottish friend of ours, I think he is. He keeps complaining that he don't like techno, but he loves listening to the radio. So yeah, send us a playlist. Send us a playlist and we'll play it. Don't complain and tell us we're not doing it. Write the music, and we'll play it. We'll play it as long as you're better than me. And believe you me, I'm terrible. We've also got Ty, Robo Hippie, and the stuff that he's done. We've got Flux, and which is a group, a couple of lads together. The one that we know well is Daryl, and he also does stuff with Control Freaks as well. DJ R, and actually his initials. So yeah, that's why it might sound like we're repeating it. We want to promote those people who are kind of seeing what we're doing and saying yeah, because that's what it's about: promoting yourself, self-empowerment. Go to India
and giving back to the movement as well, because all these people are singing about the right kind of stuff and talking about the right kind of stuff and getting people's attention to the right kind of stuff, and so it's good to give them some exposure, and so equally it's good for them to be giving that truth to the truth movement.
Totally, man. Yeah, totally. Isn't it amazing? Like you say, everything that we've been given, like I say, we could just say that's a coincidence. But everything we've been given to put in there, we've put in there, and it's all talking about roughly the same thing. Albert's music was recorded back in the 1980s, Albert Clark's. And
but we've got something happened in the room. We've got Zach in the room. Zach and Voster.
Oh, wonderful. Well, there you go. The guy we played the track in the middle of the tune. The track in the middle of the tune. What kind of English is that? The tune we played right in the middle of the show tonight. If you get in the chat room through the website, just go to the darkcityradio.bobsbackyard.co.uk and click the banner that says click here to open chat room. It'll open up a page, and on there you don't have to put anything in it. You can just go in as a I can't remember what it calls, web user. I think it just gives you a web user and a number. Or you can just type any name in. You don't need to put a password in, just put any name in. And you can dive into chat. And Zach is actually in that room now with Vostos. So you can say hello and have a chat with him. So yeah, hello there in the chat room if you're actually listening to us. If you're not, I'm not going to try and type as well as operate the server. Keep your eye on there. Skype. Yeah. So where were we? Where did we leave it, Prajna? I think we left it with.
We didn't leave it at all, I'm sure. Freedom is the other thing. Osho once said something along the lines of, my only religion is freedom. Freedom is what everything else grows in. You can't have happiness unless you've got freedom. You can't have, love grows in freedom. All the things that we treasure grow in freedom. So that's the big priority, isn't it? How do we all get that?
How do we free the dumb?
How do we,
right.
First thing is we've got to free ourselves. It's no good sitting behind the bars and saying, I've got this great scheme to fucking get out of it all. What you've got to do is you've got to get out, and then you've got to say to people, hey, do you like this? Yeah, I'm free. Now I'm free, personally. I'm not tied into the system at all. I'm going back and grabbing it and using it to hammer itself with. This is what we should be doing, is setting one department against another department. I had a friend, Oliver, got arrested because he didn't turn up for a court case that was supposed to have been cancelled, and apparently the cops get something like 50 quid or 60 quid, and they're doing it on their own time. It's not a police thing. They're contracted to go and arrest people on bench warrants. Yeah. And anyway, he got arrested, and they threw him in. Well, they were going to throw him in this cell. They opened the cell door and they had a look, and they said, "Oh no, that's too clean." So they took him down a couple more cells, and they threw him in another cell that had piss all over the floor. Well, wasn't too long, and some friends of ours called health and safety and said, do you know that this police force here is putting people in cells with piss in? Is that really a good health and safety thing? And the next thing is you got health and safety descending on the police station, going into all the stuff. Can you see the way it's done?
The last time I was in a police cell, I actually handed myself into the police station, accompanied by a foreign visitor, was a completely independent witness, and an ex-councillor. That worked pretty well. Yeah, as you can imagine, a very good friend of mine, Nigel. I was, like I say, if anybody's been in a cell, I was a bit, like I say, a bit naughty as a kid. Got involved, like you say, with the wrong bunch. I suppose I got caught. That's what it all boils down to. I've done a little bit of time. And for those people who haven't, getting locked in a room, and basically it's just 8x6 or 8 foot by 8 foot, with a toilet in one corner and a bench. That's it. I mean, for instance, saying like there's one with urine all over the floor, if you get a clean one, believe you me, it's not clean. Not by anybody's standards. It's not clean, not even by Indian standards.
I've been in some clean ones.
You've been in a clean one?
Yeah,
I've never been in a clean one. I've never been in a clean one.
Itself, well, admittedly, I only get arrested for things like aggravated meditation and so on. But so they're usually reasonably civilized to me. They haven't been recently, because that wasn't aggravated meditation. That's because they were trying to steal our home. Well, they did steal our home.
I went through 8 hours of people screaming, banging on doors. I didn't receive a drink of water. No one came to that cell. I was putting it in the early morning, and they came about 4:30 in the afternoon and brought me out of the cell to interview me. I had a t-shirt, and they took everything off me. They took my coat off me and everything, left me in the cell. There's no eating. So yeah, I was all right. I'll survive it. But after that amount of time in a freezing cold cell, it's torture. They're trying to coerce me into contracting with them, and no. So I had an interview then, which the solicitor said, well, you're in no mental state to actually give an interview, and It suited my purpose because I don't want a contract with them. So I give my name, I give my name and my date of birth, and then no comment, and no comment. I've got nothing to say, and it was quite funny actually, because at that point I was in quite a lot of pain. Me ankles, me joints in my wrists, my neck, my back. I was in quite a lot of discomfort, and for me, humour and comedy is a way that I can deal with that physical discomfort. So yeah, it came the police lady who was actually the interview. There's a policeman and a policewoman. The policewoman, I won't call her a lady because she wasn't a lady, and I don't want to give the people the impression she was. She was a nasty, vindictive woman. Right. A nasty, vindictive woman. However, the policeman that was working with her, he started to laugh. He started to laugh, and everyone really was seeing now the funny side of this, but she was getting more and more angrier, and eventually she revealed herself fully in the interview, you know, standing up, because she just could not get her own way, and they tried. And even after that, they took me down to the cells, locked me back in the cells. Took them another hour to decide that I'd had the interview and they were going to release me. And you know, I'd gone there and handed myself into them. So you know,
do you know that they've never
locked me in the cell for 9 hours before I have an interview? What's the purpose?
They've never interviewed me yet. Or not properly under caution.
No, they decided 14 days later that they weren't going to do anything. And bear in mind that they'd threatened me for over 3 months. I've been threatened not to come back to the country because I'd be arrested. If I didn't come back, I would be arrested. If I went to any other country, I was in Malta at the time. All because basically at the end of the day we decided to go and take a little bit of the land, and you know, not do as the authority told me. I was told, and I had a difficulty with it, that basically it was the old boys, the Masonic order, and when I've actually looked into it, the same old, well, not the same old boys, but the authority within inside Tameside Police, Greater Manchester Police here at Tameside, actually have intervened in my case and said, "What are you doing? What's going on here?" And they've tried to shut that down as best they can. The head of CID actually mentioned something. I'd actually worked trying to remove gangsters who are assaulting growers, basically people who are growing maybe a little bit of cannabis for their own use, and now being assaulted by gangs dressed as the police in the middle of the night, and I've been a victim of this, because I do Bob's Backyard, and they automatically thought that I must grow vast quantities of skunk, so you know, I've become a target. The police, my house, I get raided in the middle of the night by villains. I don't know what else to call them.
Yeah, sure.
And they smashed their way in. I managed to defend myself naked as best you can. I took a beating, to be honest. Hell of a beating.
Yeah.
And
sure.
the police came to my house, and they you know, Section 17, people at risk, blah, 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 yeah. My wife had rung them, hiding in the bedroom. My ex-wife, I'm out. And, the police came, and they then assaulted me when they arrived, and they brutalised me again. And there were no compassion for the victim. They destroyed the crime scene. Anyway, they left, and the CID came very apologetic of what had happened and so forth. Did nothing.
Is that a bit of good cop, bad cop, do you think?
He was sent to smooth it over, definitely. He was sent to smooth it over. And they told me to continue what I was doing. This is.
They just hope that you'll accept their apology. That's all.
Well, I haven't done. I've put in official complaints for that lot. They told me to carry on doing what I was doing, that it was needed within the community. I had a brilliant conversation with the guy about us needing officers, good constables, and so forth. And everything's fine. So then,
Bob, couple of things I'd like to do. One is to say that Carly's back here.
Hiya. Sorry, I've not been very well.
She had a headache, so she went and had a lie down, but she's back. Yeah. That's point one. And point two, I just want to say hi to John Miller, a friend of mine who's in the chat. Turn up in the chat, and he's put a link up there to a song. John wrote the music for it, and I wrote the lyrics for it. This is a lot of years ago now. How many years ago is this, John?
He's not on the radio, so he can't say.
Yeah, no, but he
can put it in the chat.
So. Yeah, so I can see that Robo's. He's already seen that, so he'll grab it. And yeah, we'll gladly play that, John. Would you like us to play it over and over again? Is it something that isn't going to be embarrassing, or is it? I'll have to find out. Up to John. What he wants to do. Oh, I hope it is. I hope it's pleasantly. I like pleasantly embarrassing. So yeah, where have we been? We've been kicking around the law. We've mentioned the law a little bit. We've had our little bit of what would you call it? Our philosophical. Philosophical, is that it? Big word for a Mancunian, and that. Philosophical. There you go. You're the Mancunian. Say it here first. Ish.
So have we talked about doing land claims yet?
Oh, we can get there. Oh, we can get there. Yes. Oh, yes. Go on. Cool. Go on. Take us into land claims. I'm sitting back.
I don't know all the legal and lawful ins and outs of doing a land claim. I just know that this country belongs to us. We are the people of this land, and it belongs to us. It doesn't belong to the National Trust. And I think that more and more of us are being made homeless or being made to struggle to live in cities and all that sort of stuff. And we should just get out there in groups of 10, 20, 30 and set up our own little villages, build hobbit houses. And if we do it in numbers, in strong enough numbers, and there's pockets of it all around the country, then they're going to have a hell of a lot of legal stuff to do to get rid of us and to deter others from joining us.
Do you know, they took away our van, but we need to get back out on the road again. And I think that everybody who's not tied firmly into a house and family and difficulties and so on, they should just get out on the road. Get out on the road in anything. And we'll get together. You know, we've done this before. We did this in the 70s and early 80s until Maggie Thatcher came and stomped on it all. You know, the only way to be free, don't talk about it, just do it. Just be free. Right, and when they stand in your road, you say, hang on, you tell me I'm in a free country. Where does that freedom start and where does it end? You know, you guys are free to go out and kill everyone with depleted uranium and try and kill our kids with fucking vaccines and all the rest of it. What are we free to do? Yeah. Well, we're free to do whatever it is that we think it's right.
Is necessary.
And necessary. And do you know the highest law in the land
is the law of necessity.
Well, I've got to agree with you. I've got the property. I'm not tied into a family. I've got a small mortgage on it, 3 bedrooms, big house. I've got a 23-foot power cruiser I've renovated while I was bored, parked on the canal. It's not really big enough. I could live on it, just about. Are you with me? I couldn't live on it without a bit of storage or something like that. 23 foot sounds like a big boat, but when you've got...
It's only little.
Well, 6 foot of it is outside, like a tent, you know, and then you've got so it's a tiny boat. So I've got a 1984 kit car of a Jago Jeep, which I'm converting at the moment over to diesel so I can run it on bio. And then I've managed with my friends to take back 250,000 square meters, 250,000 meters of land, and now I'm thinking, hang on a minute, why do I need the boat? Hang on a minute.
Sell them.
I got myself a boat and a nice little car, and I can build myself a garage and pull it behind the boat on the canals because you don't pay for your tent.
But then you've got your backyard to
But you know, now I've managed to get this land. Well, I'm saying we've got the land. How long have we got the land for? That's the point, you see. We've already found out that, well, Tameside, that's the local council who's involved, Tameside Metropolitan Borough. Find them on the internet and give as much grief as you like. Anon. Did I mention Anon could give them? No, I didn't. Excuse me. That was a Freudian slip. I take that back. I just want to let everybody know that I am not suggesting Anon have a go at local council buildings because they're all deceit, lying and cheating. And I'm not going to swear on air, even though I am. I'm just going to say they're all cheating, lying, who have got no fat.
Everybody has a right. Everybody has a right to go down to their local council
and get ignored.
3 days a year.
2 weeks.
Or 2 weeks. 2 weeks.
To go and look at the books.
Go and look through all their fucking books and accounts and paperwork and I think everybody should do it. Those who have done, have had an absolute ball and. No,
I have difficulty, mate. I have difficulty even being in those buildings with those people. I admit it. It's not that. I do go in, but they need to. I need to take people with me so they can be protected from me. It's not good.
All those little robotised drones in the council.
I'm a very energetical person, I do resonate at a much higher frequency than these people. And for me to go in there, even though I've been invited in, it will do them damage. I mean, for them to reach the point of enlightenment that where I'm at, from where they are, will do them damage. So at the times I do go in, I go in with people who are aware of this, who can protect them from me. I can get them to say whatever I want, and I've done it with witnesses. I really have. So yeah, they're actually anyway. Staying on the physical sides of this, we went onto that land. Right, we didn't have any authority to do so. They put up one notice on a gate saying private property, keep out. Well, the property that's referring to, because there's no other signs, and there is a public footpath going through this area, which makes it a bit difficult to have the argument of it being private. We realised that that sign was only as good to the next sign. You can't put one sign up, on a gate. No fence. There's no fence. So you can enter.
You're only actually claiming the post that the sign is on, aren't they?
The gate and the 2 posts and the bit of chain that locks the gate into is their property. The other side of the gate isn't. So you can walk round the gate.
Bob,
I'll go in the gate. Well, that's all right. We didn't really want to. So we realised that under the 4-corner rule, a prior notice, they hadn't done that. So we just went and occupied it with fruit and veg. Only a small amount. We've probably only done 100 square metres. We've actually managed to dig up, because it's really hard work to get that stuff out of the ground. We've just done a small, and it was like a token thing. And one thing I wanted to mention was artichokes. Nigel planted artichokes everywhere because they're considered as a weed.
Sure.
Well, at least they're competing with the weeds, man. The artichokes are winning. The artichokes are winning. We've got nice artichokes, and you're welcome to some if you can get down there. So the council then and the landowners, they all deny knowledge of it.
Deny knowledge of you being there, or deny knowledge of...
They all knew they were there. They denied knowledge of ownership. We've told them. So if you look, what's happened is we've given prior notice of our intention. And then we've done what we give them the notice to do. They've not objected. There's been no objection. Therefore, we're in occupation now. Over 18 months has passed without any objection to us being on land. The landowners didn't object. The council didn't object. Nobody objected. So we're still there on that bit of land. Nobody's making any fuss. You know, the police have been, and they were dead happy about it. The fire brigade coming looking for a crashed plane. They didn't find the plane. The police come looking for trouble. They didn't find the trouble. So they all went away. Everybody's happy, you see. No problems.
So what is the time limit for adverse possession?
10 years, 12 years now, I think.
No, well, they stopped it, didn't they? That was the Beanfield, wasn't it, on the 13th year? That's why Thatcher it in the Beanfield, because Stonehenge Festival would have been free forever.
And also, English Heritage had just taken over from the Department of the Environment. Up until that point, it had been under control of the Department of the Environment until '84, and then it got taken over by English Heritage, and that was when they took action to bring it all to a halt. To
stamp on travellers.
Yeah.
To stop all festivals.
It's a ceremonial site. You can't turn round to a Muslim and tell him he can't go in his mosque. You can't.
Exactly. No, I mean, this is part of me.
Unless you go to Malta and then you have to pay to pray. But hey. So anyway, I was saying about the
saying this is our land, this is our heritage.
What's actually happened here, and the conspiracy theories, people will just love this. Although the council, a leak from the council, says that they're actually negotiating with the landowner, who we just lost. That we're negotiating with the landowner. We just lost Preston and be back. So anyway, I'll continue. They said that when the land, excuse me, I'll get this right, the local council has said they're negotiating with the landowners now for a 50-year lease. At the same time, they've actually also applying and putting under for planning order and planning permission to build on the same site. Now, there is links and stuff on Facebook. You can go to the Ashton Allotment Action Group on Facebook and you can see that. It's pinned up to the top. So one side of the council is currently... I mean, bear in mind, we are paying for this. You know, council tax, people are paying the council and stuff like that in your taxes. You know, we are paying now for people who are, with one hand, they're negotiating, spending our time and money to negotiate with the landowners for 50 years to have it put into... And on the other side of it, they're actually negotiating with industry to build on it. Now, the thing is about that, and that includes the entire allotment plot and a piece of land that we were uncertain of, whether that was to be for allotment use. But they've now put it down as one plot of land, and they're trying to get rid of all of it to be building, you know, whatever they want, really. It says manufacturing and that type of stuff. And they've said this all before, but we haven't actually received any manufacturing buildings there. There's nothing there that would be considered to be manufacturing, unless you consider Kentucky Fried Chicken to be manufactured. You know that, or what else have we got there? A Charlie and Benny's and a Chinese banqueting place. So yeah, I suppose there's a bit of an argument there, but this is not really generating an industry in the area. There's other places like Screwfix, and these have just moved. They've just relocated. It's not created more jobs anywhere. And if it has created a few more jobs here in Ashton, then the loss of those jobs elsewhere, because the modern day buildings used for these warehouses need less people to work in them anyway. So there's, you know, over the broader scale, we've actually lost employment, places for employment. They say it's about generating an income and a wealth for the area. And if that's the case, and that's what they've done, why did they ask the government for £16 million to cover the losses on the Ashton Moss development? And the government then awarded them £6 million. So what they're actually telling us is that the development on there has cost us, the taxpayers, £6 million, and the loss of all that agricultural land. Bear in mind that land was actually producing, much of it was producing, and was agricultural land put aside for celery. And some of the best celery in the world, so I'm told. So that's kind of gone now. And we've got, like I say, concrete, new police, communications, headquarters, and stuff, you know, which is paramount, you know. And the putting on this land, originally, which was set aside for public use, a football fields, a golf course, and just let me bring Angie back in. Football fields, golf course. There was a football field, golf course, allotments. That was what it was supposed to be put use. They're now actually, as I said, applying for permission to build on that area as well. So, like I say, the conspiracy, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, these people are totally incompetent. And the right hand really doesn't know what the left hand's doing, and this is more evidence of it. But for the people who say that they are conspiring to rob us and cheat us and just have us over, then you've also got all the evidence you need to prove that. Whichever way you want to go with it, the local authority here has refused to do anything. Now, like I said, they denied all knowledge we were there. And now the thing is, why? Why have we managed to do here what all the other groups of with no disrespect, but have not managed to do, not that I know of? How have we managed to take back this land? Because of the illegal, unlicensed tip that's under it and right at the side of it. That's why. That's why the council didn't want to kind of get involved, and they've all said they've had nothing to do with it, nothing to do with us, nothing to do with us. Because what it actually is a dump. It's a tip. Unlicensed tip. And they convinced everyone that it was an infill site. An infill site from the motorway extension of the M60 ring road. It's preposterous. That land, what was taken up for the ring road, would not have contained Blue Billy. It wouldn't have contained asbestos. So you're back with us, Prajna. We're going to get that right. You're back with us.
Yeah. Do you know, they've had all these criminal schemes. They're operating in all kinds of different ways. All the social services is criminal. Everything's criminal. You get criminals at the top. You're going to get little criminal schemes all the way down. Everybody thinks, well, they're doing it. If they're doing it, why shouldn't I do it?
In fact, that's the only thing that does trickle down from the top is the criminality shit. And the shite. Yeah. You know, the wealth doesn't trickle down.
Well, like I say, I've spoken to. Like I say, for me, I got into all this because I was waiting for me allotments. You know, they said I went up there and they said, "Would you take 2 allotments on Ashton Moss?" For the 3 I had in Duckingfield, I had chickens, my own solar on it, my own hydroponics running. Everything. I'd done the lot. I was continuing my research into aquaponics and hydroponics and the Victorian implementation of this modern ideology into the Victorian crop rotation ideology. And lo and behold, it was working. It really was. Okay, to a lot of people I was cheating, growing hydro pumpkins at 65 pounds in weight, taking them to local allotment shows and breaking their exhibit tables as soon as you put them on. These won't win, of course. I mean, that's a useless pumpkin. It really is.
Yeah.
But, you know, I like to grow carrots at 3 foot long. Well, anybody can grow a carrot at a foot long. Do you know? I like the ridiculous. I like the extraordinary. I want a 45-pound cabbage. You know? Wow. Okay, I can only eat a leaf a day for 45 days, but hey, you know, and you really don't want to live with me after I've eaten cabbage for 45 days. But, you know, and it worked. It worked, and I was using a lot of the modern ideology, modern techniques. Solar panel isn't an ideal way of producing power, but I ended up producing enough power through you know, non-conventional means to be able to power up 2 street lights that I've made Victorian type looking street lights, just with 2 of the 8-watt fluorescent bulbs in them, which came on at night on my allotment, and that caused absolute ruckus because everybody wanted lights on their allotment.
Sure.
We had electricity, but the people there wouldn't distribute the electricity out around the allotments, and they wouldn't do that. That's what inspired me, you see. When the so-called authority said no, I produced my own. I made my own. And that's why I had to leave those allotments, because people get angry and upset when you come up with an alternative. Because I'd now got electricity and hydroponic systems being run, and they hadn't. And they were the authority. So, like I say, why am I so adamant now, after all I've been through, and, you know, why am I adamant about this little tiny bit of land? And all I can say about that is, you have to experience it to know it's real. I can talk about it as much as I want.
It's massively symbolic as much as anything else. It's massively symbolic. If you can do it, then we can all do it. We can all find those cracks and plant our seeds in them, you know.
Oh, I think when you people look at the size of the site we've got now, the site which is already connected to it is probably 1.5 times that site, so that'll probably make it 700, let's say 750, 750,000 square meters, and the site that's adjacent to it is probably 6 million. It's huge. Why not take?
You should all just move there. We'll not live in Ashton on the X-tip.
Why not? Well, to be honest, we need to get the environmental agency in now and cut a strip through it and find out what's in there. I'm pretty sure that it's just going to be builders' rubble and waste, and we'll find a bit of asbestos, you know. And, you know, what can we do?
I think that's going to produce methane and nasty gases.
I don't think so. I don't honestly think, but we don't know. No one knows. There was no license. There's no tipping license. Nobody knows what went in that site. We know it's there. You can't get away from the huge physical evidence. Not even if you kind of, you know, the weekend after we had our action, 26th of April, 2011. When we had that action, the following weekend we went up there, and there's still a good buzz in the air. You know what I mean? Yeah. And there's diggers, earth movers, and they're spreading topsoil all over this big hill right opposite, the other side of the road from where we took the site. And I don't know why, but I just kind of, it flicked into my head, that's the Pentagon, 9/11. And you know, I'm like, what? Yeah, they're just covering it up, and it doesn't matter, right? The difference being is, you can't cover up the hill. It doesn't matter if you shove 6 inches of soil over the evidence immediately, right? There's still a hill. Look at the hill, everybody. And this is the ridiculous nature. I'm saying to people, have you not seen the hill? And they're like, it's that nutty bloke, innit? It's that nutty bloke off the Notorious Bloke. Oh, the hill. Have you seen the hill they've built? And people like, the hill? Yeah, the hill. What hill? That one. Where did that come from? And I'm the crazy man. They built a hill in their backyard and they haven't even noticed it. They haven't noticed it. And we're expecting these people to notice that. The television's coercing them in daily programming.
This is the scary thing, isn't it?
Well, I don't. Like I say, I don't know. I don't know where all this is going to take me. I don't. I know that I've created a family on emotional shite. That's what I had. Yeah. And I created a family, and I created a safe environment, not just for my own child, but for other people's children as well. A safe environment. I've done that, mate. Proud of it. All right, I've lost my family. They all think I'm nuts. And I'm happy.
Same here.
Yeah. And they're like, it's all like, oh, well, aren't you? Well, don't you? No, I don't. It's great. Brilliant. I'm having a great time. It was really hard. Like I've said this earlier on the show. This, you know, grounding your own consciousness, you know, becoming who you truly are, is hard work.
It really is. Yeah, it's an uphill struggle.
But
I mean, we have to live in our own truth, in the truth of who and what we are, and we have to discover.
Yeah, I think you're right that we do, but who are we to say they do?
No, we're not. That's entirely their journey.
You would have come up with your hippie fancy traveller ways and tried that on with me. I would have been like, okay, I'll buy the next round of drinks and give you work next week. And that's what
I have no desire to implement or to foist my chosen lifestyle on anybody else, but I have no desire to have their lifestyle foisted upon me either. Just because I grew up in it, I reject it entirely.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there has to be a way for us to peacefully co-inhabit.
You take it all, I reckon. You see, this is my point, and Dawn, welcome back to the call.
Thank you.
My point is, let's take all of it. I mean, we can start with this bit of land I've got here. Come down and look at it. I've got here. Excuse me, it's not mine. Slip of the tongue. That we've got here, because it's everyone's. That's it. At the moment, it belongs to everyone. You know, the number of people who say, can we do this, can we do that? Can we have a summer camp? I'm like, I can't, this is not up to me. And it's like, yeah, but you've been there the longest. Well, you know, it's up to you. Can you organise it? You know, oh, yeah, let's have a summer camp.
People are so in the habit of deferring to others, eh?
Well, they all want a band. You know, let's have a band and we'll have music. I said, yeah, and my first thing is toilets.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
When we were living on the A41 without any toilet facility.
Drinking water would be all right, wouldn't it? Let's get drinking water, toilets, and a bit of shelter, shall we? And then we can get a band on. Do you know? Yeah. You want to come up there with an instrument? You want to take your tent up there and camp out? Not a problem. Stevie, our caretaker, he's up there 12 months, right? He's had it up there for 12 months with a cooker in it. And brewing up materials just in case somebody turned up and it was raining. And 4 weeks ago somebody pinched the stove. That's it. The cooking stove. And they couldn't really steal it because we agreed that anything we left up there we were prepared to lose. You know? Right. Anything we were prepared up there, you know, we were prepared to lose it. So yeah, we'll roll it out from there if we have to. You know, I don't see.
There's a guy in Cheshire who's he's done a land claim on some common land that was just being left to rack and ruin by the council.
Oh yeah, amazing!
He's actually declared himself an estuary keeper. I'm not sure what the legalities of that are, but he's declared himself an estuary keeper, and he's been there 10 years or more now.
Brilliant. That's it. That's it. You need people need to now be supported fully. All the different groups and all this bickering that goes on in the so-called truth movement. And believe you me, whether the truth movement know it or not, they've been put on it here. This is real. We've really done it. We've got there. And like the estuary keeper, and I don't know who he is, but you know, he's done it, right? If you can't get to this little bit of land, you know, for an hour or a minute, you know, do your soul a favour. While you're here on this planet, you've got an opportunity to walk upon a bit of free land. You don't have to come and dig anything up, but seize that opportunity. You know that.
We're going to come and live there, Bob, and we're going to build an airship and live in.
Well,
yeah.
I'd sell this house up. I'd sell this house. I'd sell the boat. I'd sell all the stuff that I've got in their world. You've got to live somewhere. You know, I still have to pay a small mortgage on it. I'd sell the lot.
I totally agree with that line of thinking because I've never really been a materialistic person, and also I really appeals to me to live back to basics, you know, just minimal clutter, just minimalist lifestyle. I don't need to be surrounded in luxuries to be happy, because that's not really the key to happiness in my respect.
No, but I've also got me abundance, Dawn. I'm brilliant at manifesting me abundance. I only seem to think about it and it turns up moments later. It's ridiculous. I've got all sorts. You wouldn't believe the amount of stuff you can accumulate over 25 years. It's phenomenal amount of stuff, like I say.
Really, I can believe it.
Do you know, I got rid of Bob, I got rid of just about everything. Just about everything. You know.
You even gave your house to your son.
And then, yeah. And then the bastards came along and they took my home away and they took all kinds of fucking things off me, you know, and I had nothing but a tent and my car with me, and out of that nothing, suddenly there was abundance. There was a caravan, there was a shelter, there was wood.
The needs were met, really, your basic needs. And at the end of the day, a lot of the things that are luxuries we don't actually need. We can still have a good quality of life without them.
Yeah, we need warmth and shelter, a love and some food in our belly.
Oh, stop it.
Yes.
When I got put on, when I was on the run, when the police actually said to me, right, if you come back, we'll arrest you. I went, all right, then I won't come back. I said, they can keep my house. They can keep everything. And I give it up. I was just like, my family could live here. You know, my daughter and my grandkids and her husband, you know, they could live here, and I just, and they said, oh, you can't do that, you can't do that. I said, well, you can buy me a little flat then in Malta, and I'll live here. It's as good a place as any. It's sunny.
Yeah.
I don't get problems with me joints in the summer. Well, I don't have any problems with joints in the winter, excuse me, anymore, because I use cannabis, and I don't have a problem with it. But I used to have major problems every time it got cold or damp. Whoa, murderous, you know. So I was like, great, that's great, oh, you know, wonderful. And it's dead hard giving stuff up when you've got it, you know, and you don't realise it, when you think it's yours and you're possessing it.
Yeah.
But the more that I did it, the easier it got. And then they insisted I had to come back. It was just, no, why is it? Now I've got the house and I've got the barn, I've got it all. And it was like, when I got back, I thought, right, well, if I'm here, what am I going to do with it? If I'm kind of stuck here now, what am I going to do with it? So, you know, I do what I do. I take things that are broken and damaged and I restore them. Well,
really, the only, it's, in respect to luxury, the only things that I really feel that, well, I would rather not live without, I could live without them, but I don't want to, is like my computer with the internet, so that I can have access to doing radio and things like that, and also my guitar. But apart from that, everything else I could just say, nah, I don't need it, and just get rid of it, or sell it, or whatever. You know, at the end of the day, all I need is to be able to grow my own food, have a wee bit of land for that, just a house, shelter, you know, just somewhere to sleep.
Just
heat,
the basics, isn't it?
Oh, you need love. It's true. Oh, you need love.
That is definitely on the list of our existential needs.
That's what the Beatles got just exactly wrong. The truth is, all you are is love. And when you discover that you are is love, then you need for nothing. You don't need love. You are it.
Care. Care's the best word to actually say to meet all your needs. Really, all we need is care. Really. It's like everybody care for each other.
Compassion, yeah.
Exactly. And then that covers everything.
Sorry, who are you? We haven't been introduced. Dawn.
I'm Dawn.
Hiya, I'm Callie.
Hi. I don't know who you are either.
I'm Prajna's partner.
Our mystery guest for tonight is Kelly.
I used to be Kaz. I was Kaz 67.
All over the internet.
I'm not familiar with your name, but nice to meet you.
You too.
Yeah, I've done radio before.
Sorry, I've just interrupted your radio broadcast, Bob, to do introduction.
No, it's not. It's ours. It's not mine. See, you're doing it now. Don't start
all...
casting your possession at me, lady. We won't have that here on the Dark City.
It's
our radio. It's our radio.
Just pipe in whenever you feel like it. That's the excitement. That's the randomness of the whole thing.
And this is the idea of the Dark City show. It's
not planned. It's just spontaneous.
Exactly. But on a big but with capital B's, right? I'm shouting it. We've got to start to implement the solutions. We have to. And talking about implementing a solution.
Solutions, yeah.
We're being joined by Nigel Rowland.
Nigel, hello, Nigel.
Hello. Hi, everyone else.
Yeah, hello.
You're a little bit quiet, Nigel. Can you get a bit closer to that microphone?
I'm getting nearer to the mic now, Paul. Is
that's much better, Nigel.
Yeah, that's good.
Introduce yourself, Nigel. We've got a couple of minutes left of the show. It's all right, actually.
I'm Nigel.
Take all the time you want. It's our radio. I've just said it, and we can do whatever we like. Oh, actually, don't take any time. We just lost Nigel.
Well,
me and my big mouth.
Red, we've got two more minutes going up to 9 o'clock. Time for a brew, and I think don't know if anybody wants to do an after show or.
Yeah, but we can continue. That's entirely up to you.
Chilling and chatting, yeah.
Well, if we continue, and I'm going to be jumping in and out then until it's over, obviously. But I'm jumping between this and something else. So.
This is the Dark City, Dawn. It's never over.
Well, that's the fun of it. Join in when I feel like it. That works for me.
Right, so we'll do that. We'll take a break. I'll stick on. Who shall I put on now? I'll put on Seth Mike.
John Miller's song on.
What?
John Miller's song. Prosner's friend John Miller posted it in the chat.
Yeah. I haven't got it yet.
All right.
It's not that easy to get it up. You notice that the sound we hear through Skype's a bit rubbish, but the sound because that's being played directly off the server. That's why we get the good music sound quality and the quality.
Nigel's back.
Go on, Dodd.
Sorry, Nigel's back. Just noticed.
Oh, you're back, Nigel. Right.
Yeah, no, I'm back, Paul. Yes.
I'm going to carry on anyway, Nigel. You've come in right at the end of the scheduled show. But
I realise that.
We've all the members of the Dark City have took an executive decision, and we've decided we're going to carry on. So we're just going to play a tune, Nigel. Will you join us after the?
Yeah, I will for a short while. I'm free up until 10 o'clock. When I've got another conference.
Well, absolutely brilliant. We'll be back in 4.5 minutes.
I'm going to duck out for half an hour and I'll be back about 9:30, okay?
We kind of knew that. We suspected it.
See you.
See you later.
Mute up for me, people. I'll play this tune.
Well, if I could work out how to do it, it's not working in this Skype.
See you in half an hour.
Say again, Prune.
This Skype has not got the little window thingy that lets you mute it. Unless anyone knows Skype.
Well, you should be all right. I don't think we're getting interference off you anyway. It's just we have to mute when the music's on because it can reverberate. But if it does it this time, right, please send all your complaints to...
if it does, I hang up.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, cool.
And you come back at the end of the tune.
All right,
but then I missed the tune.
4.5 minutes and we'll be back.
I believe that I'm a quote-unquote spiritual person, whatever. I believe in the existence of higher realms. Some people, a lot of what it gets into is different ways of looking at things. You could call them higher dimensions, multiple universes, things like that. I think that it's just that, though. I think that a lot of it is semantics and just a perception point, a point of perspective from where you are looking at things.
Fell asleep in my dream. We were marching in the streets in protest, outrage at their calculated deceit. We were walking side by
It's important to be aware that you might be wrong. You know, there's 4 questions that I learned that are really good questions to ask yourself and others when you're being presented with new information, and that is, it's what do you believe, why do you believe it, what difference does that make, and what if you're wrong?
Yup, Darkcity Radio's on. All sorts going on Darkcity Radio.
And we're back on Darkcity Radio with Pan. Oh, I give up.
Rajna.
He done that, on purpose. He really has. I got it right, didn't I, when I started as well? I've been practicing it for days.
It took me a while.
We've got that clever bloke and his missus from up there yonder, and we've got that other woman and that. Anyway, and we were joined by.
Got the Duns from Scotland.
And we've been joined by Nigel Rowlands. So if you're not keeping up with the show tonight, I'd give up now and just join us where you're starting from, because I can't keep up with it neither. We've touched many topics, some in quite depth. Moved actually.
Most of them just poked a little bit.
We kind of spoke about a little bit about law and ended up into natural law, and I think we could do an entire show with Piranha and his woman. We could just on natural law. It's a topic I know little about. I don't know if it is discussable really, or whether you actually just got to love it. I get that common law, as we call it, the law of the common, more right, is paramount in you could call human evolution. I don't think we've got there yet, although we've been duped into this ideology. We've been taken over by the merchant. Well, I'm not sure when the merchant did take over, but as far as I'm concerned, they've been at it for long enough. We've touched on quite a few things: travel, broadening your perspective, personal perspective, and we spoke about land and taking back land, and the common land for the common people, which technically belongs to you wherever you're born. So for Dawn, I presume you were born up there. It's just that little wee accent that slips in. I
wouldn't even put the restrictions of birth in that, to be honest with you, Bob.
Well, I would. Wherever you are born on this earth, wherever you are born on this earth, then the earth you are born unto, and therefore you are part of it, and it is part of you. And that should extend across.
It is part of it.
I see what you're saying, but an example: Prajna's from New Zealand. Now, the native people of New Zealand are the Maori. The indigenous people of that land are the Maori. That's their land. Prajna, historically, his family are from these lands.
Yeah, well, he's here now.
Yeah, see?
That's your.
If everybody was here now, it would be fine, wherever they are.
Go on, Preisner.
If everyone was here now, wherever they are, then everything would be fine. This is the thing, is I am here now.
So like I say, we're not there yet. We're not there yet. And to me, that's just being realistic. You know, we're not living in a place where that is the ideology. You know, far from it. It's completely. I mean, somebody said, well, that's a utopian attitude, you know, and I've had that thrown at me a few times.
Me too.
Yeah, they're always
wrong with a bit of utopia.
They always talk about human nature. But, you know, these people that talk about human nature, they don't know their own nature. How can they talk about human nature? They talk about it from what other people have told them about it, and other people tell them shit about it. I spent 10, 12 years studying my nature closely, and I know that my nature isn't anything like the way they pejoratively describe it.
The natural law again. Can we let Nigel have a shot?
Yeah, go for it, Nigel.
Okay, yeah, I haven't been listening to the show tonight, so I'm just coming in from the cold, so to speak, literally. It is actually very cold out there. You're talking about...
Just to give you a heads up, just before, right, you came on, and you came on in perfect, right? They were asking about land, and how we took the land, and the call dropped a little bit and stuff, and then you appeared. And how we'd actually took that land. Do you want to give your angle on it, Nigel, and how we've actually managed to actually get this land?
Yes, well, to use the land, so we haven't got it, because in a way that's the whole thing with land, that it belongs to everybody. It actually belongs to the earth, really, and we're just occupying it, using it, and that's something that we need to do in conjunction with all of the other life forms and things that are occupying and living on the land. I think that's what you were touching on with natural law, really, you know, and I'm not really going to expand on that except to say that humanity, there are natural laws, you know, about how different species interact with each other. You know, this is something I've been reading about, and you know, even like the hunter and the hunted, different species respect each other's numbers, and they live within their limits. Now, the big problem with mankind is that we've never recognized any limits, and we have just moved on and exterminated different species and eradicated their habitats, etc.
Because we're outside of natural law.
We're living outside of nature.
Exactly. We're
even living outside of our own natures. This is the problem.
Yeah.
Anyway, do continue, Nigel. Sorry.
Continuing, the big thing with what we've been doing on Ashton Moss, this land that was intended for allotments, but then neglected and forgotten for several years, is that we've done this, trying to do it, at least with a mind to creating no loss or harm, which I'm sure Paul's already mentioned these concepts to you, and that was kind of our starting point, our line that we would try to keep to that. Now, sometimes, you know, it's been difficult because you don't always recognize what you're doing, and you know, we do sometimes you know, we had this episode with the wheelbarrow, didn't we, Paul?
Oh, I was hoping you weren't going to bring that up, but since you did, it is a very poignant story, Nigel, isn't it?
It is.
And I learnt something about some people in the political ring for myself. I had a big lesson here. What it was is there was a wheelbarrow, and there's a tree, and there's a big heavy-duty motorbike lock and chain. And the wheelbarrow is chained to the tree. Okay? Now, like I say, our basis is no loss, no harm. Now, I know under that law, it's no harm, no loss, no deception, or breach of the peace. But what had happened here, our peace was already breached, and we'd already been deceived. So we thought, right, well, we won't bother with them two because, you know, we've got other outside sources that are capable of doing that. So we'll just go with the loss and the harm, and we'll do our best not to create any more, you know. And as Nigel said, that become quite a learning curve for us. So the wheelbarrow is chained to the tree. And I'm saying, like, well, look, which has got the greater value? The tree, the chain, or the wheelbarrow? Which one of these things has got the greatest value? Because, you know, to go and purchase them, the motorcycle lock and chain was actually worth more than the wheelbarrow.
Sure.
But use value.
But this is the difference between cost and value.
So what we've got is we've got this question, and it was difficult, you see, because I didn't chain the wheelbarrow to the tree. I wouldn't have done this. Others had. And then the lock went missing. The key went missing for the lock.
The key went missing, so we couldn't actually remove it, could we?
Gotcha.
So let me ask you the question. You can't answer this, Nigel, right? You're not. You're banned, right? You're banned from this one, right? Which has the greater value? The tree, the lock, or the wheelbarrow?
Well, to me, the tree. Does.
Well, look, when you start to put value on a living thing like that, the next thing is you put a chain on your ankle. You see? The tree has no value. The tree has no value at all.
I'm sure it has value to itself.
It is priceless. The tree is priceless. Exactly. And you would never, ever really change something of less value to something of more value.
More value, just say.
And you're quite right. If somebody came along with the idea the wheelbarrow was more valuable than the tree, then the tree would have suffered the loss. Yeah. There's no doubt about that. So that's, you know, it's only a wheelbarrow.
Didn't we just cut the chain?
No, somebody actually went, I think, and tried to steal the wheelbarrow and got angry and then vandalised it. So then the wheelbarrow was useless as well. So me and Nigel actually went there and spent with rudimentary hand tools and liberated the tree from the wheelbarrow. I do believe it's still got a chain round it as a ceremonial memory. Are you with me? Because it is. It was a big thing for us to actually grasp. And from there on in, anything that is taken to that land is taken there freely. I mean, if you want to leave it there, that's fine, but don't lock it up. You know? And there's been a tent there, like I say, for all through the winter, the summer he was put up there. It was only a little cheap dome tent with a cooker in it, and so you could make yourself and boil water and stuff. And in the last couple of weeks, the cooker went. The tent's still imperfect, but the guy said who put the tent up, next time you need it, will you please zipper it up, because it fills up with water when you leave the zipper down. So
you know why people must just be doing these things at hassle, or maybe they're drunk, or maybe they're just unconscious. The problem is half the world is unconscious. Alex Jones goes around saying, you know, we live in a prison planet, but we don't live in a prison planet at all. We live in a fucking mental asylum. Everyone around us are off their trolleys and they have no respect for anything.
He's a troll. I'm sick of it. Ever since he's had my phone number, he's not stopped mithering me. I'm telling you, Alex Jones. Pain. I can't be bothered. I just can't, man. I don't mind. And if you're listening, Alex, right, just take no for an answer. I'm not coming on your show. I'm telling you. I've had more from Alex Jones than I've had from Norma from the BBC. And after I actually told them I wasn't working with any paedophile rings, and they stopped ringing me up. And the day after, Nigel says to me, yeah, but we could do with getting a bit of more media attention now and bringing people's focus of energy back onto the site again, as we'd done before, you see, using them for our purpose, rather than they expect us to work for nothing, you know. And no, I'm not doing it. And this is why we've done what we're doing now, you know. Why? And with the help of the Earthship, not last Saturday, the Saturday before, we got a couple of people came up from Earthship Manchester. They've been looking at getting some land to build an Earthship, and we know these people. I don't know them, but you know, we live close together and stuff.
I know where there's a bunch of tyres, but they're all down the Hereford.
Yeah. The thing is, man,
as many tyres as you can eat.
Yeah, that's not an issue. They've asked around. Some of the girls have done, and it is. I'm not being sexist there. We've had a few girls on the site, and women I should call them really, because that's what they are. And they've worked wonders in the last few weeks. Like I say, we come across the Earthship people. Just two people came up, and we had a conversation and a chat. And now there's, I think, nearly 40 people say they're coming. I think I know some of them aren't coming who are saying they're coming. One of them, Susan, who said, "I'm coming." I said, "You're in Australia, Susan. You know, you can't put a good intention out there." You know, I've got to put a good intention out there.
I'm sure Sue will be there in spirit, Paul.
Oh, definitely. So I know there's a few who aren't, but the amount of support we've had, people we've met, you know, like yourselves. You really have. And like I say, they've come with their little group. And I suppose I triggered that by going onto their Facebook group, and they'd got a list. Right, realistic now. What do we need first to build an Earthship? Number 1, land. Number 2, I think it was materials. Number 3 was manpower or something. I can't remember what the list was. And I went on and I thought, oh, right then. I just put something like, well, we've got the land, 250,000 square metres of it. You can scratch that off the top of your list. And that was it. They went, right, okay then. And now we're here with the dig it.
And this is us being our own media as well.
Exactly.
Not relying on the mainstream.
That's it. This is it. I mean, that's how I see it. Is we can make a little stand here. Yeah, not even a stand. You know, we just turn up, we go back to his homes, down. The people, some of them will wander away. Other people are going to feel that up there. I'm telling you, I've felt it. I've walked and hundreds of people around there, and not everyone said everyone. But even not when I've not even said anything has gone. Can you feel that on here? It's mad, that, isn't it? Like, wow, what is it? Well, let's just get it sorted. Stay focused. What is it? I suspect it's good intention. It's just that.
Are you talking about the vibe of the place?
Yeah.
Right.
You've got. We wander about it. You know, I take, when people come to that site, I just wander them round. I take them out and show them the site. I walk around the outside of the site, and we come back into the middle, really. And a lot of that is I'm just watching their reaction. You kind of know who's kind of into it and who's not by their reactions, you know. Yeah. Me and Nigel, we went up there before all this started, and we sat down behind the garage, and we affirmed the truth. We stuck 3 potatoes and 2 artichokes into the ground. We looked into one another's eyes, and we're not gay, okay, from it. We looked into one another's eyes and we went, this land's now free. Both smiled and nodded. That was it. An affirmation of the truth. We didn't set that land free. It was already free.
Yeah. You just...
We're not. We were.
Revealed the fact, I guess.
Yeah, and from that point on, my life ended.
Or begun.
And you on begun.
Yeah. or began, whichever way, and I'm starting to see now my life's really just started to begin over the last, that bit of land, it's been life-changing. It's changed my life completely, irreparably now. It took me a while before I started to see that there is only the better. There is only the better. It don't matter how you change. Eventually, we'll get better. It's a disease. We've all suffered from it. All of us shouldn't be looking at one another and going, they're evil and they're bad. We should be looking at them like a disabled child.
Exactly, or a naughty child or whatever.
To get to where we are, the first thing is we've got to look at ourselves and make peace with all the things that we've done and mistakes that we've made and so on, and then it's easy to look at.
And then you get the compassion as well, when you know yourself and when you admit to yourself your failings and your weaknesses and all that sort of stuff, and the fact that you have lived unconsciously most of your life, then you can admit it to yourself and feel a bit of compassion towards those that are still stuck in that.
Well, I've actually known all my life, and I know I've been lying to myself, so I can't actually go down that route if I'm honest about it. I've always known, just didn't want to face it, you know. I tell you what was really funny though, out of it all, what was he called, Nigel, at the meeting at the council when he jumped up and said, I didn't say that on the internet, I said, what was he called?
Warren Bray.
Warren Bray. I actually stood up at the meeting and said, they were arguing over these allotments, and I stood up at the meeting and said, well, would you like to comment on Warren Bray's comments that if we couldn't have this site, he'd get us the original site immediately. And this Warren Bray jumped up in the council offices and said, I didn't say that. I said I'd go down to Cordingley's immediately and tell them we were having the original site. Thank you, Warren. And we all sat down. He'd never said it. It wasn't on the internet. I made it up. Yes, that's right. Yes, that's right, Warren Bray, you stupid, idiotic little man. I made it up and told lies just like you did. And you stood up without knowing it and told the truth. You're welcome, Warren. It happens to us all eventually. I hope it's as liberating for you as it is for me. I've got him on the telephone, you see. I got him on the telephone, but I never put it on the internet. I didn't put it up. But I might do now, Warren, if you don't pull your finger out of your pants.
The first time you spoke to Warren Bray, who's your local councillor, so you phoned him up, I remember, I was there.
Yeah.
And you were recording that conversation and I was listening, and you were asking the local councillor, Warren Bray, what he's going to do about the allotments. He said, what allotments? Didn't he, or something to that effect? Words to that effect.
He didn't actually know what Facebook was. He didn't know what the internet was.
Well, and this is a local representative, isn't it?
Yeah, he's really in touch with his constituents, isn't he?
Isn't he?
Go on, Nigel.
So then you said you told him about you said the allotments on Ashton Moss. He says, "Oh, I don't know about it. I've been on holiday." You said, "How long have you been on holiday for?" 20 years.
It was. Excuse me. It was it's been a ridiculous, ludicrous situation. You see, for 7 years they were telling me they were arguing, negotiating. It's funny how they put it, isn't it? It means doing nothing. But don't tell them I told you, right? They were negotiating with the what do they call the contractors? Negotiating with the contractors to get a fence put up, because the contractor should be putting the fence up and they didn't want to pay for it. Because I'm sure you know, you can't grow anything unless you've got a fence. What are you talking about? You don't need a fence. You know, the Tameside, there isn't a local authority out there, right, that goes around and provides fences for allotment societies. They have to sort their own fencing out. You know, they can't afford to put bleeding children in school. take milk away, and man, half the stuff they put in the milk's not worth taking now, is it? But you know what I mean. We can't afford basic services. You can't start putting fences up. That's our job. Give us the materials. We'll put up a fence. It won't take us 7 years. We could have grown one. We could have grown one by now. It's like, come on, what's happening? So yeah, it's just the sheer and absolute contempt of these people. They really are.
And also, yeah, duplicity as well, you know, that their intentions are not pure, and there are other issues lying underneath that. So, allegedly, they were in negotiation over what, if they say it was over the fencing, then it was over a breach of contract, wasn't it?
Yeah, but what
the council were alleging that the contractors had breached the contract, and therefore one would expect that they would sue them for breach of contract, and they wouldn't give them any more work, any more contracts. But what have they just done? They've just given them another £5 million contract to develop the land on the other side of the motorway.
Same people. Same, exactly this.
Where
same scenario.
Gardens.
It was agricultural land.
It's now being developed by Staley Developments.
Well, yeah, but in the period of time now where they develop that so-called piece of land, it's not doing anything. It's lying there, and then they turn around and say, "Well, nothing's been done with it for 5 years." Well, that's because you compulsory purchased it, and took the people off the land. And then they change the usage and give it over and say, no, oh, well, it's all right because it's not being used. We've had the land there. It's been lying there for years. Now we'll build on it. No, you won't. They've got to stop doing it. I tell you what they have done as well, and I mentioned it earlier. They've now put in, there's other plans. They are there on the Facebook group, Ashton Allotment Action. Right on the top, and that's now shown me how big our allotment site is, Nigel. Wouldn't you agree? It's considerably bigger than we can do in the first place.
They've set a boundary.
Oh yes, they've made it one plot of land now, which is actually about 3 times what we had. I don't want to exaggerate, but I'd say it's about 3 times, isn't it, Nigel? Gives us a much longer road access right down the length of it. We can put an entrance point at both ends, which would be much more easier. There is a road over it, so maybe that was intended to be done, at least for some access. It would lead us then into having a much better way of structuring the entire area. And of course, we are willing, and always have been, to work alongside these murdering, cheating, lying.
Well,
that's the bleep. No, I'm just leaving the pause for me bleeps. Hang on, I haven't finished. I haven't finished yet. People. Them are all the things I ain't going to say about them. And I'm still willing to work with them. I'm not looking for retribution. I'm not looking for that. I mean, they can't do anything with that site now. They can't go building on it. Nobody knows what's under it. You know, you can't go building houses on a tip. You know, especially when it's a tip one with no idea what goes in it. There's no way the people, right, of the surrounding area of Manchester, or us all combined, can afford to move it all. We've just got to accept that they've got away with that now. But what we've got to do is not go, oh, right, well, it's all right then, and forget about it. Because they'll do it again. They're not just doing that here. They're not just doing it here. Don't think that we've got them here. We've got them banged to rights. All we need is plenty of people now to enforce this here, and we can blow it open and people can see it everywhere. That's dead right. We have got them. You know, like I say, the only reason we've managed to get as far as we've got is because of their lying, cheating ways. Because they have had that tip there. They don't want to bring any media attention to it. To keep going, nothing to do with us. We don't know. You try that to a policeman when he pulls you up outside of it. You try that one on. You know, they work for us. They're supposed to be our representatives. We're talking about the mafia here. Okay, don't go all Hollywood about it. They don't need to kill people. They don't need to do that. Why would they do that? You know, where we're all running around arguing with one another over all these so-called worthy causes, in 50 years' time, when they've finished contracting with the so-called landowner, our children will start fighting these battles. Not here, it won't. Not here. This has got to end with us. It's got to end with our generation. We can't keep passing this on.
Yeah, if we don't do it in this generation, Paul, then we're stuffed.
Oh, well, you might be. I'm not. Like I say, I've got the house, I've got the land, I've got the boat, I've got the car. I'm actually all right.
She's
I would survive.
Wide,
you won't have any food to eat except when you go around.
The thing is, though, like Dawn's point is, you know what I mean? There'd be no point even turning the internet on if there's nobody there.
Sure.
And that's what it would be, you know?
Exactly. So, Paul, can I just say, I'm going to leave you at this point now, but, you know, it's been nice talking to you all, and I look forward to talking to you a bit more tomorrow on the Darkcity Radio, where I'm going to talk about some aspects of the new dark age, you know, the global war on terror.
Brilliant. That's Pax Monday show. That's the Pax Monday show tomorrow. So, it is on the schedule now.
So,
I give it the right slot now, Nigel. I actually got food brought round from you by Stevie on Tuesday because he was convinced. And like I say, if you are trying to follow the schedule, we can't follow it at the moment because we don't actually know what we're doing. It is all very brand new. So, yeah, but Nigel is on now, Thursdays. He'll be coming on Thursdays. Is it 11 or 12 o'clock you start, Nigel?
I think it's 12, Paul. It's 12. So, you know, I'm happy to do like 12 to 1 or 2. Let's see how far it goes, you know.
Yeah, well, there's a big spot in front of you, mate.
And I'll talk to you before then about the technical side of it.
All right, mate. So, yeah, but for our viewers, our listeners...
Good night, everyone.
Good night, Nigel.
Good night, Nigel.
Night.
Night, mate.
Been a great influence with us, Nigel, down at Ashton allotments. Like I say, ex-councillor, he was a councillor. He's been fighting the fight for a long time. I've known him for years, but I wouldn't have anything to do with him because he was a politician. So, but he's not. I learned things about things. I learned a lot, you know. I really did. And like I say, he's doing a show Thursday. Starting at dinner time, Thursday noon. So he's like our early show, one of the earliest.
Well, it's breakfast time for people like us, eh?
Well, yeah. Well, I always used to get up with the sun. It's really weird. And over the last like fortnight, 3 weeks, because of this changing slots, really, my sleep cycles changed completely. I'm talking to Australia late on and early on in the night, in the morning and night, and I expect from any time from now, you know, within the next hour or so, Susan from Australia will appear. So I'm kind of a bit on Australian time. And I, like I say, I used to get up really early in the morning, and I'm waking up at like 9:45 in the morning. I'm panicking.
Brosnan's got a real guilty look in his eye when you say I'm waking up at 9:45. Since Brosnan discovered Facebook, we've not been getting to bed till 2 and 3 in the morning, have we, babe?
My excuse is like, you know, because I'm talking people from the other side of the world, and that's what's kind of happened to me. Because it's not just Australia, of course. I'm using that because it's the furthest, but it's all the people in between there. My new European brothers I've met up in the chat room that we've got since we put on the Dark City again. They're all got a couple of hours ahead. So it's really weird. They're going to sleep, and I'm like, oh, I've just kind of become this like really worldwide. Like I said, but first,
well, wide awake.
Yeah, global.
Yeah, it does, and I think it is a global thing as well. Like I say, I did the English kind of internet radio, and then the American internet radio, and You know, I'm not trying to do either. I don't want to be seen as this dark city to be English or European or American. I really want, if it's possible, for people to get it as a global ideology. And we can do it. And we don't need hundreds of thousands of people. We haven't got the numbers. That's the reason why these so-called movements haven't kind of all it off. People are saying, well, why? Well, we haven't. We're being coerced. They're lying to us about the numbers of people actually who are out there willing to make a difference. They want change. They can see there's something just so wrong with this. And there's a lot of people now, a hell of a lot, I suspect, that know there's something wrong with what's happening. Are they big enough and strong enough to face it? I don't honestly think so. I don't think it's about being bigger.
Well, there are different levels of wakefulness, if you like, aren't there? Well, I mean, there are some people that are fast asleep. There are some people that are vaguely aware of problems. There are some people with more awareness, and some people that are actually getting up and doing something about it.
There are people who are aware of it and are running from it. There are people who are aware of it and pretending that they're not aware of it.
Yeah.
There are all kinds of reactions.
But there are actually, I reckon there are millions of us that are in the position the three of us are in this conversation are in, and that is in the position of actually doing something to address the issues we need to address.
And because of the internet, the truth is coming out about all kinds of things all over the planet all at once. Yeah, and it means that. And not only the truth is coming out, but a whole lot of bullshit's coming out as well, which is completely sidetracking people from
getting on with the solutions.
From the truth and getting on with the solutions. You know.
Definitely, man. 100% Gladio. People will defend the position that they are in rather than accept an alternative.
Indeed.
Yeah.
That's Gladio.
This is also what's meant by cognitive dissonance as well.
Yeah, knowing the truth but turning a blind eye or a deaf ear to it.
Yeah, I actually sat here one afternoon and we've been talking about the Gladios, you know, and what's gone on with it and how long it had been going on. And, you know, I got off chat and stuff, and I think I might have been on with Jim, and I just said, I am the Gladio. I am Gladio. And I felt it. I felt it.
I'm Gladio.
You know, and it was part of me that I denied. You know, I've created here, me, or at least co-created, and then denied my own creation. I've denied it. That is nothing to do with me. Of course it's something to do with me. Everything here has got something to do with me. Everything. I'm part of whatever we're going to call it. Yeah. I might be a tiny part, I might be a huge part. It's irrelevant. I'm part of it. And if I'm affected by it, then, hey, lo and behold, it's going to be affected by me.
Indeed, yeah.
Because I'm making a difference every moment of my life. Every moment of my life, I'm making a difference here. I really.
Yeah, be it positive or negative.
I suspect that's what we're actually expecting other people to do, just instantly. We've all gone through.
We've only got to look at our own experience, and I don't know how many years you think you've been waking up, but I think I've been waking up for 12, 14 something years.
I think I'm a bit like Paul. I've always known there's something out of whack.
I've always known there's something, but really it's only the last 10, 12 years that I've been absolutely dedicated really to waking up.
Oh, well, I haven't. Ever since I was 6 years old, I've been trying to get to sleep. Oh, I don't want to wake up. No, I'm serious. That's why I've always tried to get deeper and beyond the sleeping state, not waking up from it. Always. That's what I've done. Why? Wake up to what?
Yeah, well, yeah.
You know, I woke up now at that age and there's nothing changed yet. Nothing's changed yet, but it's just, you know, I may have given myself the impression that things have been different for me, but nothing's changed. The frequency, they're all going, oh, we've all reached this point in our, what? A point in what? Where you all repeat yourself and do it all again?
Oh, it's in our consciousness and our awareness, but we haven't reached any physical point yet.
The river keeps flowing.
Well, I don't know. I think I could disagree with that.
From your land, and Neville's land in Chester, and
right, no, excuse me, I wasn't quite getting what you were saying. the angle on it, I suppose, is that I've seen something. I don't know if it's real or not. It's almost I'm afraid of what may occur. You know, I've had difficulty with that, and then I realised that's not mine. That doesn't belong to me. You know, that's everybody's. Everybody's got that little bit of misapprehension about what might happen next. Nobody knows. Nobody really knows what's going to happen in the next moment. We don't.
No, not ever. Not ever. No matter all planning and scheming.
Yeah, once I kind of give up the possession of that feeling, you know, say I'd done it materially, I didn't have anything, so giving up the material stuff was quite easy, and, you know, finding myself on the run, like, it's like you people saying, oh, well, get on the road. It's much more fun when you're getting chased by the police. And then knowing they can't actually do anything if they do catch you, it makes it even funnier. So but you know, you have to do it emotionally. It's not just some of us. Mine was emotional investment. That's what I put on the what I call it, the poker table of life. That's what I did. I invested with my emotions, and that nearly killed me. You know, my investment in material stuff that won't hurt me. That won't hurt me. It won't damage me. But when you invest emotionally into people, I can scar you deeper than any knife or a bullet. I mean... Yeah, so, again, with me having, I suppose... why the program didn't work? Because, well, they were helping me. They were helping me go deeper. The more I got hurt, the more deeper I went. And that's what I was trying to do. I wasn't trying to wake up. I was trying to get as deep as I possibly could into the sleeping state. That's where I'm at. That's where I'm trying to get. And then the weird thing is when you wake up, when you actually wake up on the normal day, you know, like anybody else, you wake up in the morning and it does it in steps. You don't just go click into the toilet, glass of water, boom, downstairs, cup of tea, and out of the door. Gone. It doesn't. You've got time to just be aware.
You start out all blurry-eyed.
Hang on a moment. I'll just go and find me poetry book because there's a poem. There's a poem in there called "Awake" that says.
Don't start threatening us. Get off and get that poetry book, lad.
It's gone.
He did his India one before, and when he was saying that is bang on, that's a man he's had such similar experience to me.
What was that? Namaste Delhi. What can I say? Your streets are so smelly and not far away.
My first visit to India was a mate of mine, Dave. I'd helped him out a while ago. Just by helping him out, I mean, like, just got him to see things in another way, to take his disadvantage and create it into an advantage. And he got where he wanted to go. And he rang us up one day and said, do you want to go to India? I mean, I can't afford it, Dave. I'm on my bum. Can't afford India, you know. It's just beyond me. And he went, £179 for two of us, return. And I went, I want to come to India. And I arrived sort of on a charter at Goa, the airport. Flew straight into the Goa airport. And the steps come down, and I'm walking down the steps, and by the third step, I was hallucinating. Serious, I was tripping. It was like this.
You were what? Sorry, Paul.
I was hallucinating. It was like I took a few mushrooms, not enough to get me, you know.
Right.
But it's like I took a few mushrooms, and eventually, I mean, I don't know how long I've been there, but I'm sitting, and it's this guy, Reg, I mentioned earlier, and he says to me, oh, it's in the ether. I said, what? There's more drugs been took in this part of the world. The ether. And you know, it's right. it's really right. Once I knew that, I mean, the second time I went, I travelled down to Corella and arrived there purely by coincidence on the Moon Festival, where the moon rises, where the sun drops into the sea.
Yeah, yeah.
And we got in a rickshaw from the train station to take us to this is the address, the first blue building on the red brick road. And bear in mind, I've just done 17 hours on a train, and that's my address. And I'm like, and it's 5 o'clock in the morning, and you arrive there. It's amazing. It's not like number 57, the Laurel Gardens, you know, blah, 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 and the postcode. It's, you know, Corella, the red brick road, first blue house. You know, and you get addresses like this behind the bank. So, yeah, we arrived there, and well, Brahma Krishna. I woke up one morning, I've not took anything, I'm not on any drugs, anything at all. I'm on sunshine, fresh air, you know, that's what I'm on.
Fresh food, vegetarian food.
No, I eat everything, mate. Yeah, so yeah, I'm eating, I'm
even in India.
Say again?
The state of the animals is...
The animals? What about them? I don't get that. The way the animals are killed and stuff.
Everything.
You mean that's what you mean? Yeah.
I
Broke up a little.
Anyway, go on. So you wake up in the morning.
Yeah, and it's
fresh air and sunshine.
Best I could say. It's a full-blown hallucination. Brahma Krishna, the images that you see on stuff. Yeah. I could see them. I could just see them. Just like LSD trips, but without anything. I thought then I've been spiked. And I got quite ill. And I realised now that I realised then pretty quickly that the illness was me. That I was creating the illness. I was making me ill. By resisting what I was seeing, you see. So yeah, it was a biggie. It was a real biggie. And what they told me, actually, they didn't speak to me. They just kind of looked at me, and I knew stuff.
Yeah.
And a lot of it was beautiful, and some of it about the situation I was in then, and the people who were around me. That's why they were there. That's why I journeyed, so they could help me in a way. Yeah, really weird. Like I say, the best I can say is I thought I'd been spiked with somebody dropped LSD or something in me. But then the bit about me getting ill, and then me realising that it was me who was doing it, and then almost this remarkable recovery I had then. Literally within an hour or so, I was all right. And as soon as I'd realised that, and I can't deny that, I can't deny it. And you know, even the stuff that I got that I did like was dead easy. I must admit. The stuff I didn't like was incredibly hard, but it was true.
Yeah, sure.
It was true. It really was. Yeah.
Anyway, do you want to hear Prosner's poem about being awake?
Say again.
Do you want to hear Prosner's poem about being awake?
Come on, mate. Let's have it.
It's just called Wake. I cough myself awake, longing to rewrite my constitution, adjust reality to fit my map, wake from a nap. I ease my tiredness a little higher off the bed, shake my head, dispelling nothing much. I stand and blink and think, auditing each ache. I stretch and shiver shoulders and seldom feel awake.
There you go.
See, you really should have let me waffle on for about another 4 minutes, and we could have just finished the show there, couldn't we? That would have been perfect. You have to read that again, right, in about another 4 minutes, and then we'll cut it all out.
There are other ones to do.
Hey, it's good stuff, man. Like I say, that India one was... and I just love all this. I just love it. You need to read that out, get it recorded, right, and then give them the robo and then what?
Oh, that's a good idea, actually.
Yeah. They can do it.
We'll do that.
And all that. It's dead easy to do, actually. I'm only saying give it to them because I'm lazy.
Because I got loads of poems. I should really put together another book. But I may as well just stick them straight on audio and then hand them over to various people.
Have you got Unrealising Gaia's with? It's on PDF, isn't it? That one?
It's on. In fact, yeah, it's all to hand somewhere or other. It's accessible.
Okay. I'm going to make him read my favourite poem, the one that I made him give to me when we met.
Did I do that?
Yeah, you gave it to me. It's mine.
No possession.
It's called Unrealising Gaia.
No possession, but it's mine. You give it me.
All right, it's not mine. It just resonates.
What's hers is hers, and what's mine is hers.
That.
Yeah, it's the old mind over matter, isn't it? I don't mind and you don't matter.
As much as I can. It should be. If it's not here, it's going to be. Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
It's opening magically.
So just before you get into that point, say we've only got 5 minutes left, and if you do want to get involved in these, and you see the Dark City and the Dark City crew, remember that's you. The listener is part of this crew, and you're welcome to get up here and have a rant or join in.
Well, we're often about if someone gives us a shout, and.
Yeah. Have you ever got any time to fill? Just give us a shout and we'll pop on anyway.
There's normally something we can rant about.
Well, what we'll do is, and we suggested this a little bit off air, but really briefly, this all happened really briefly. We just wanted to keep Don spot hot, really. We're looking at that schedule and cramming things down a little bit. So we've got like a strip across the week. It would be nice to have something going on every day, but I don't want to give myself something to do 7 days a week, if you see what I mean.
Yeah, well, it's a lot to take on, isn't it?
Yeah. And like I say, there's gyms here as well and stuff. So what we'll do is we'll put you in the Dark City crew, if that's all right. And the whole idea.
Well, sure. Our problem is really that we don't know how our existence is in any way, shape, or form over the next,
3 weeks.
Because we're living.
We're living on borrowed time in this house.
Under threat of eviction.
But anyway.
And we're struggling with a mobile internet connection and all that kind of thing.
But we will certainly be happy to be part of the crew and do what we can as and when we can, yeah.
But
that's the whole idea. That's the whole idea. You've just hit it on. We're not saying you have to commit yourself or anything like that. It's just if somebody drops out and there isn't someone there, the crew jumps in. It's all about that. There's no, and we don't need to have a captain. It does happen. I've been stranded 3.5 hours on my own on American radio, telling you I would have sooner sailed the Atlantic. So that's what it's about. That's how I like to say it. We're sailing a vessel out of the dark. We're sailing it into the dark. We don't know what's ahead of us.
Yeah, we are. We're going into uncharted territory.
And these podcasts go out and you never quite know where they get to and what happens with them either.
That's right.
Just the words you've got to mention so that they make sure that they pick up a copy of it. This is the other thing is I don't have to worry too much about documenting this trip because all the authorities are doing it for me. At one time they had a whole wall covered with pictures of our campsite at fucking Chester.
Yeah, in Chester Council.
In their enforcement office, they had a whole fucking wall dedicated to pictures of us. Isn't that fucking great? One of these days in court, when it comes to disclosure, they're going to have to provide all that lovely historical evidence, and that's going to help so much in documenting all the crimes that they perpetrated on us, and all the things that we changed in the process.
Yeah, it's what we do with that as well, isn't it? We've got to use that to promote the change rather than to seek retribution.
Absolutely, it has to be a catalyst.
Yeah. Like I say, I hope we're getting it. I'm sure there's many people come along and thought the same thing as me. Like I say, I don't hope for many things in life nowadays. I try to do my best to create them and make them a reality. But doing that, I'm a realist. I know I can't save England on my own. I love England, mate. I love this country.
All any of us can do is our own individual little changes, you know.
You've picked a hill to save, and that's good stuff.
Yeah, it's a fantastic start.
Yeah, well, as far as I'm concerned, it's not enough and it ain't quick enough. I'm very impatient.
Well, I think it's as long as we inspire others to take actions wherever they are, be it in Manchester, Liverpool, Chester, or wherever around the world, then cool, that's fine. It happens faster. It happens without us knowing. This is the thing. People like us, we don't get publicity in the mainstream media by and large. So we don't know that there are 100 little actions taking place all around the country. But I'm quite sure that there are.
Definitely, and hopefully it's what I'm seeing already, which has happened, whether we like it or not. Our network has become more integrated. We are now talking, and we weren't. And if anything, that's what we've got. That's what we've got. That's what we wanted to do, and that's you people confirming it. We are the confirmation of what we wanted to do. If it all falls apart now, we're communicating. We've already done that. There's loads of them, and for me, I just want to bring anyone that is in a group that feels like they're in a group. You're right, you are in a group, but that group's a lot bigger because I included all of you. I can't speak for Nigel. I didn't make the affirmation of that land being free with Nigel. I mean, I can't speak for him, but I didn't make that for me. I made that for everyone, excluding not one man, woman and child. What are they going to do? Well, I apologise, right? I apologise for speaking with authority of all of us. But it's too late now, I did. I won't do it again, okay?
No, occasionally we do have to...
No, I do. I apologise to every man, woman and child, but it's too late. We already did it and we affirmed it into the land. So you're just going to have to learn to live with it now. And I think that's where we're at with it. We need to make these steps forward and they're going to have to learn to live the way we're living. Because if they don't, they'll perish. I'll not.
Completely. Yeah.
The human race will go on, but it's how it goes on. It's how it goes on. Where we get to. You can't help but look around, and as an enslaved race living on the last enslaved planet, this is the last enslaved planet. This is the last one. There is no other. When it ends here, it's not. This isn't here. It's talking about they're going. What do they call it? Human ascension, planetary ascension. This is galactic ascension.
Really, all it is. Yeah. Really, all it is. There's this ascension of consciousness.
Well, it's
evolution of consciousness.
We move as fast as the slowest.
Indeed.
The slowest.
Yeah. Inevitably.
Yeah. So
but we have an impact along the way. We help to, encourage others to start moving themselves, and and so it gains momentum, and so we have won.
I was really angry I wasn't on the Beanfield in 1984. I wasn't there. You see, I was there the year before. I was going again, and it got hit.
I was on the other side. I was in the army.
Yeah.
Right. So I was really angry that I didn't get there. And years later, I was speaking to John, the trampoline man, and he said, "Why were you angry?" And I said, "Well, they smashed it." He said, "Yeah, they did. They smashed us. And you know where we are now?" Where? He went, "Everywhere. They smashed us into little bits."
Yeah.
That's it. They created these rhizome communities growing up everywhere.
The Do you know, they did this in Switzerland, in Zurich. they had a big park at the back of the museum, and that's where everybody used to go and buy all their heroin and all that kind of stuff. And you couldn't really go into the park unless you were, you know, in that drug scene, you know. And so then the council in Zurich closed down the park, you know, evicted everyone off the park, and closed all the park down. Then it just spread throughout the whole
city. Yeah. Fools.
We're saying today, a little bit tongue in cheek, but where's our heroin addicts gone? We used to have a couple of heroin addicts who used to always kind of gouch out at the front of the shop. Where are they? Does anybody know where they've gone?
In Naples.
They'll have killed a lot of them off anyway. You know, remember this? There's a whole euthanasia thing going on, and Liverpool pathways, 100 different ways of killing people. You know?
Yeah, well, I mean, like I say, it was a little bit tongue in cheek, but you know, I want to know where the problem is. Yeah. I don't want to push them on to somebody else.
Yeah.
Are you with me?
We have to be for each other.
Let's go and get there and sort it out.
And you know, I went to what do they call them? These community meeting type things years ago now, and the police were there at the community meeting, and they said they had a drugs problem. Really? What's the problem on this estate? And they were we believe there's heroin coming in. I said, you believe there's heroin coming in, or you know there's heroin coming in, is there? And years later now, they get funded. The way it works, if they have a drugs crime, they get funding for it. So the more drugs crimes there are, the more the area gets.
Yeah, well, we've got the CIA working nice and hard to make sure we've got plenty of drugs to create the crime, and then we get the funding.
It was cannabis. Yeah. There were little bags of cannabis. They were talking about £10 and $20 of cannabis. And what had happened is some cannabis oil had gone, and the police thought it was heroin. It was actually cannabis.
Yeah.
You know, their ignorance to it. Now the police come onto the estate and they're insisting there's heroin. Wait. Took 6 months for the dealers to move on. When we got heroin on the estate.
Wow.
Yeah. You see what I mean? And I'm not saying the police. I'm not one of these conspirators. I'm not saying the police set up the heroin. I'm not saying they did. I'm saying they come looking for it. Then it turned up. Yeah. That's how it works. It's not so cosmic, and you know, we look for it, then we find it, and we don't like what we find.
It was the same with Stonehenge, with Stonehenge Festival and the traveller scene and so on. All started off lovely with ecstasy and all the raves and everything. They had ease and everything was all love and wonderful. And proper community developing, and then some elements pushed heroin and cocaine and stuff into the scene, and that entirely.
Did you go in '83? Did you see what they did to the heroin dealers in '83? Did you see it?
Second.
The heroin dealer. If you went in '83, there was a car turned on its side and it said "No Smack" written on the bottom of it, burnt out. And that car ended up there because two guys were selling heroin on the side.
Yeah.
And they were backed up by what they said were Hells Angels England.
Yeah.
So you've got a bunch of hippies now, and what are they going to do? You know, what are they going to do? And they sat around, they had a meeting. Because there's no real hierarchy, you see. You've got the main convoy, they used to call it. You know, the heads. And they'd sit around, what are they going to do? And anyway, they decided the best thing they could do is let the women deal with it. Because
that would work.
The Hells Angels deal with it. You know, excuse me, let the men deal with it. The Hells Angels will come back and deal with the men. But if the Hells Angels come back, and what are they going to do? Beat up the women? It'll just look stupid. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So
I like that thinking. Actually,
they went to these lads and they said to them, "You've got, I don't know what it was, 6 hours or something, 5 hours to get off the site, and I'm going to take you off." And they were like, "We're back to blah, 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 blah." And then they didn't do it. So they went there to where they were camped. They took everything they got, they put it inside the car, they stripped them naked, and women carrying rocks literally ready to stone them. They didn't, but they were ready to stone them. These two lads by this time are terrified. You can imagine. We're talking a lot of women, and they actually ran. They actually ran to the police incident room that was there at the gate. Down the hill and set fire to it. Don't come back. So that's the statement that women actually have when they're actually given the opportunity, or not given the opportunity, really. That's not right. When women have took...
describing women as the weaker sex and all that. It's not a weakness. It's actually a strength when you turn it around the way you just described.
When you see the fear in them man's eyes, I saw it. I arrived as they're running off. I'm like, what have I turned up to here? A gang of angry women. I saw that, and I'll tell you what, that's how you end a war. When women are, get up there and say, no, you're not killing our children with your drugs. You're not using them to murder one another anymore. That'll be the end of it. When women, seriously, us blokes are too dumb-ass thick. When women in the world turn around and say, no, you're not killing our children.
Yeah.
That'll end it. Us blokes will just argue about it, we'll fight about it, we'll go round in a circle and debate it, we'll create something else which is supposed to be wonderful, and we'll use to kill people.
Yeah.
To say I'm a realist. I mean, I'm quite aware of the difference between the masculine and the feminine energy. I'm quite aware of it.
Women anyway.
Yeah, this is one of the things. But this is one of the things.
That's what I'd send to Afghanistan. I'd send an entire brigade of blonde-haired, busty women carrying shopping. Hey, right, ladies, in you go. Go and give them all a big hug. And if that didn't work, my second brigade, they'd be topless. And that'd do it. That's how you stop men from killing one another. That's how you break all the emotional dramas. Love.
That's a bit like bonobo monkeys, isn't it?
Yeah.
They settle disputes. The women come along and just offer themselves for sex.
The males and the females, it's just a constant orgy with these particular monkeys.
Yeah.
Any kind of dispute.
Any kind of argument.
They have a shag. Basically.
There's a lot of people out there with a lot of pent-up emotion. My thing is release it in an harmonious way. Do it in an harmonious way. Do it in a creative
way, a constructive way. Yeah.
A lot of angry kids, and the only reason they're angry and they're frustrated is because they've got no creativity in their life.
Exactly.
Well, it's because
and they're totally disenfranchised.
They've lost all fascination. Do you know when you're fascinated, you can't be angry? It's impossible to be angry and fascinated at the same time. And this is the thing, forgotten how to fascinate people with what is truly fascinating, things like nature and so on.
Yeah, I mean, the education system is, it's such an abuse
of
children.
You would think, wouldn't you, that the first thing we would teach children is about what is good for their bodies, what food is good for them. Yeah?
How do they grow it? Where do they source it?
And all that kind of stuff. You would think that would be the first thing we'd teach.
How you meet your existential needs in life.
Yeah, exactly. Our existential needs are absolutely, utterly sacred. Everybody, everywhere on the planet says life is sacred, or at least human life is sacred, or at least human life if you're white and not gay, and that kind of thing is sacred, or at least human life is sacred if you're giving yourself to the Lord and all the rest of the shit. But they all admit that on some level life is sacred, and if life is sacred, then surely all of the things it depends on: food, shelter, clothing,
love, water.
We shouldn't need medicine, but sometimes things happen we're not conscious.
Yeah, can I just point out, you two jumped ahead of me there. My second brigade of topless, busty females running up with bags of shopping, right, was to give them all a big hug and to blind the enemy I wasn't moving down the sexual manipulation of the enemy at all. I think that's how the men are getting there, prepared to kill one another. If we could instigate that in the home, are you with me? Where we were both appreciative, men and women, of the skills that we've got to offer, and the complete role reversal almost. Let's send the women to war.
I absolutely, funnily enough, agree with you. Maybe not to war, but to go and resolve the war.
Not a coward, but us men aren't solving it. Us men going to war, shooting at one another, is not solving the problem. Am I the only...
I'm just adding to it. More cannon fodder.
It is the problem.
Yeah.
Force is the problem. This is the whole problem.
So wherever you meet a big macho enemy, send the girls
whenever you meet anyone who's using force rather than reason.
Now, can I throw in the words of my prophet?
Yeah. Sure, go for it.
Can I if they're stupid enough to kill one another, I'm filming them.
Yeah.
They're stupid enough to kill one another?
To kill one another, I'm filming them.
All right. So, in all fairness, I'll use it again, Was
that Bill Hicks, by the way?
That was, I was going to give you a bit more and give it away completely. If you want to learn to fly on LSD, where you start on the ground, okay, people who actually climb to the tops of buildings and try and fly when they've took LSD, right, are not under the influence of LSD. They're under the influence of stupidity. Okay? They're giving that's what it is. This is nothing to do with it, you see. It really isn't. So the words of the prophet, why are we trying to convince the stupid and these genetically stupid people here of something over and over again? You're right, ever since I've known about all this, right back since the 1980s, early 80s, and it was a bit of a biggie for me, but, I'm not an intelligent guy. I'm a normal everyday bloke, and then if I can do it, and I'm pretty thick, then who are we waiting for? Have we come to a stage now where we are actually creating the genetically stupid people so we can feel better about ourselves?
Oh, yes, indeed we are. We've looked a lot into genetic research.
That's what a great deal of science and medicine is all about.
Dumbing it down, keeping us stupid, Yeah,
absolutely.
I mean, they are interfering with our genetic makeup.
If people don't know about stuff like MSG and aspartame and all that sort of stuff by now, and vaccines, for Christ's sake, if anyone's letting themselves have vaccines, and even, stuff like ibuprofen, if you take that more than a couple of times, people really don't pay attention to what's going into their bodies and what's in the sky, and
But there was
slow. You don't realise it. The withdrawal from. I've been addicted to prescribed prescription drugs. Again, from what they said was arthritic pain. That's what they described it as. And literally, I had to take painkillers to work. Like I say, I have got a nice home, I don't dispute that, but
this is the thing, you've got to take painkillers to be able to slave for the bastards.
But what is it? It's built on my pain. Masked through drugs, but built on pain, and we can't start there. Just come on. If we're going to start anywhere, we're not going to start in pain. We're actually reacting from an emotional perspective. You don't.
An awful lot of the time we are. I actually cured myself of a really painful condition, which is very similar to polycystic ovaries. And I was going backwards and forwards for all these tests, waiting for a diagnosis and all this sort of stuff. And having the most cripplingly painful period you can imagine. And at the same time, I was reading this book by Caroline Myss called Anatomy of the Spirit. And it was about our physical relationship with the environment that we live in and how it impacts us physically. Our spiritual relationship impacting us physically. And so I'm reading this book and I'm going backwards and forwards for all these tests. And as it's dawning on me that I can control these symptoms myself and get to the cause of it myself. So I kind of cured myself and I got the diagnosis, but I was better.
Yeah. Yeah, like I say, I had the same experience, like I said, mentioned earlier in India. It was quick. You with me? It was
right. Yeah.
It was an accelerated experience, but I've had the experience loads of times before. You know,
Cool.
like I say, this was like I was hallucinating. It happened so fast for me. I was aware that I was creating the resistance inside myself. I was aware that I could remove it, that all these problems were down to myself, and that I didn't need to take responsibility and possess them. I was possessing other people's problems. I thought they were mine. It was me.
Yeah.
It's mine. I've possessed. It's mine. I was in possession. Me. Possessed by some demonic entity. That's the best way I can describe it. And my whole life is a representation of the possession I was in. I was possessed.
Yeah.
Simple as that. And the way I got rid of it was allowing it to consume me. The darkest part of myself swallowed me up all. Now I'm on the inside. Now I'm on the inside. It's like, oh, right, okay, I'm in control now. Yeah, but I can't control anybody else. I'm completely powerless to control any. Prior to that, I could manipulate virtually anyone to do anything I wanted. That's what I'd done with my family. You know, I manipulated them into the reality I wanted to see. The wife that loved me, you know, the perfect family. I manipulated it. I really.
This is how all the relationships fall to bits. Is because both are trying to manipulate each other into their own reality and expectations, and they're never able to express properly what their expectations are. Yeah, to each other, and yet they're busy trying to mould each other into these total.
Oh, and you find out the truth then, man. I found out the truth behind it all, and I realised why I'd created a fake reality for so long. Like, when I found out the truth, when I knew the truth, I would have never got involved in it. I really wouldn't have done. Looking back now, I wouldn't change a thing, but I know if I would have known then what I know now, I wouldn't have got involved. You know, saying that, I have grandkids and I've got 2 beautiful grandchildren, you know what I mean? I've got a beautiful daughter, you know, and I wouldn't have any of that, you know, so I'm not, you know, regretting any of that. I'm not. But the true facts of it are, if I would have known the truth, none of it would have happened. It would have been completely different. Completely different. Things could have been dealt with. We would have had a chance. When you bury deep emotional stuff inside yourself and you don't talk about it, it becomes part of your personality.
Sure it does.
And for many people now, the best thing we can do is nothing. Do nothing. Because it's an addiction.
First step to changing the world is to do nothing.
Stop. Just stop.
I tell you what, every time I go, right, I've had enough of you, leave me alone, my phone goes, I get people pretending to be other people, giving me messages on, and it's like, will you stop doing it? I know who you are.
Behave yourself.
Do you know what I mean? Oh, we don't like, yeah, right, okay, then go on. Anyway, thank you very much indeed, I'm all right.
For all these dramas, you know, people create fucking dramas all over the place. It doesn't matter where they go, they create dramas there because they have to have drama in their lives. You know, it's like they have to turn their life into a soap opera. You know, have you noticed? Some people are just one drama after another.
Have I noticed? I tried to run a radio. I tried to open up a radio station within the truth movement. How ridiculous is that? How many people do you think are actually in the truth movement?
Well, who knows? But someone says that a quarter are infiltrators anyway. I think they're all infiltrators except you and me. and I ain't so sure about you.
I think that might be a reason there. I could put the numbers up to maybe 35, maybe 50 people in the country.
Really?
Oh, I won't put him.
Well, I don't know. I don't know one way or another who's an infiltrator and who's not an infiltrator. I've got ideas about certain people. But the fact is, it doesn't matter. It does not matter at all because we need to reach those people as well.
No,
you
no,
know?
you're missing what I'm saying. Are you missing what I'm saying, I think, here? Or you're definitely misinterpreting what I'm saying. Is by truth, there's those people who actually see there's an alternative and actually go and do it without reintegrating what they've just, the bullshit they've just left behind. How many, of these groups?
Yeah, they're all trying to reproduce what they've got at the moment somewhere else. This is one of the other things that we found going into a community is that they were just, they were trying to throw out all the rules that they've been with, but immediately they had to put in a whole lot of new set of rules.
It reminds me of college. It reminds me of college. The student era. I mean, it really does. That's what it reminds me of the students all really kind of not wanting to do a lot, sit around, go to the pub at the afternoon and the weekends, and go home, get fed off mum and dad. And it's like they're playing with it.
Well, I guess an awful lot of people are, yeah. I mean, there's an awful lot of keyboard warriors out there that don't do anything in real life, but, I think there's enough of us that are doing what we need to be doing.
The thing is that a lot of this stuff touches their lives anyway, because television licenses and council tax and mortgages and all the rest of this touches all their lives, and so they're looking for some solution to this, and hopefully in the process they've run into the real freedom, the real truth, the real waking up, and the people who are not just keyboard warriors but who are out there living it.
So I'll just put the other bit where I was going with that. How many people do you think?
Sorry, we just keep interrupting.
It's all right. It's all right. It's all part. You're not interrupting. This is what it's a conversation. There is no interruption. I reckon we need one.
Need law.
I think we need one individual. I think we need one. The fact that I reckon we could have up to 35 people who have the capabilities of actually really manifesting change here. I think we only need one. I don't think we need to have thousands or 10 or 20.
I think we need tons and tons of it.
You think we need the mass? I don't. I think we need to work as a group to achieve the aims.
Sure.
But we only need one to actually be able to embrace change, and irrefutably we will all eventually change.
Yeah, only one person needs to find freedom, and then everyone has that opportunity.
But I suspect they already have, and they're trying to convince us that we need to join in.
Well, that's.
Wait a minute, we want to set everybody else free. You already are. Oh, no. Okay, we'll all imprison ourselves for a bit longer. So, it could be just the old scenario. We are really doing unto ourselves that we perceive we have done unto others. I don't know. I do know we've got enough land to get, probably...
Cracking up or uncracking.
I don't think I am, somehow. No, I don't think so. The server seems to be just keeping me nice and...
here.
Hi Dawn, welcome back. I do know one thing for certain is we have at the moment got, like I say, our local council on the back foot with enough room to probably build 100 earthships and all have a good piece of land around each one of them. I mean, and if they want to use it for building on, then hey, well, it's all right, isn't it? As long as we build it. It has to be we, not a them. There should be no them. It's ours, and we can build that. And if people want to invest...
So don't worry about it.
Do you want to try again? You're a bit broken then. No? Right. We have... It's still flashing. You are there, yeah, we have lost them. Go on, Dawn, was that you trying to get in there?
Yeah, so what have we been talking about? What have I missed? What's its current topic of conversation? Is it anything, or are we just picking something random?
My mind is a whirl of transient thoughts at the moment. We've been all over the place.
Wow, how philosophical of you.
It really is. It's a jingle I used to use.
You were actually going well. I went off. I'm kind of been going back and forth. The world's biggest Skype call. Well, actually, there was hundreds of people in it, and now there's like only like 4 folk or something. But they're trying to make it add people so that it doesn't end. That's just something totally random and.
Yeah, well, I'd like to do that. I'd like to do it. We're not organise it, but let's organise it. If you see
well, maybe when you go off of this,
really like a flash dance. It's like a flash dance, isn't it? But a live on-air flash call. Let's see if we can break. Let's see if we can break Skype. That would be fun, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Let's break Skype for fun.
Talking over each other like we're doing now, and then I'll have somebody being like in the background playing guitar or whatever, just randomly. Everybody trying to get attention some weird way.
Yeah, well, I can imagine it might be a little bit of bedlam, but really good fun. Especially if
I get your voice heard, you will hear me.
Well, no, I can just take control of the server and talk over everyone. That's power. The power dog.
Overpower.
Don't tell them though. Don't tell them. We can actually put a commentary over the top of. But shh.
You will hear me if it's the last thing you do.
So yeah, for the people listening, what we're actually talking about is, and I was brought into this just before the show started, and we mentioned that right at the beginning of the show, was some people were just starting to invite, well, all the friends into a Skype call, and then getting other people to invite them into the Skype call. So yeah, it was suggested in the moments that I was actually in that call that yes, that would be a great idea. So yeah, we may we may be involved with at least the first flash call. This is like a flash dance or a mob. Did they call them? There's something mob.
The problem is you can't get more than 25 people in on a Skype call at any given time.
But that's a good start.
25's good.
Oh, I was hoping to break it.
Well, Bosco started it and he added like hundreds of folk. People from all over the world. I don't know if so far. Well, currently there's an Irish guy in there, and then there is like a Slovakian guy. There was a Romanian guy, which is Vostok, and I'm Scottish, and other nationalities.
Yeah, well, we've had an American, Canadian. Where's Vostok from? It's the blue.
Oh yeah, he's Romanian. There was an American as well, and a couple of Americans actually.
Yeah, they've gone now, I think. Well, I haven't updated for a while actually, but we've got Australian, Canadian.
International.
They're all in now. Like you said, you mentioned about you never know where it's going to get.
That's the fun of it.
Well, it's not.
It's totally spontaneous. And
that is the fun thing, because we might not have many viewers, but we've definitely got a worldwide audience right now.
Absolutely, we can just rabbit on about any old junk and people will still listen.
Right around the world. Canada, right at the moment, we've got Europe, England, Canada and Australia. We are actually now going all the way around the world. People are connected. Might not be, like I said, there might not be thousands of people, but does it matter?
Not really. It's the quality, not the quantity.
Exactly.
In some ways.
So that's what I was getting.
You want the quality.
To
grow from quality. If we grow slowly, and at least if we go slowly from people that of quality that are listening and actually for the right reason, because they want to, I don't know if they want to enlighten themselves with their with their current conversation, maybe not. But
no, they might not.
But in general, we do talk about things. We will. I'm just news here, obviously, but I do intend to talk about like truth issues and whatnot, and about some of the stuff that I've been researching. So I think that it will be quite an enlightening radio show. Obviously, we all do talk about things we can all learn from. So yeah, I do think it's got that side as well, but it's also got the fun side. We can have a good banter, and yeah. I think what.
But my question, you see, I put this before you joined us, was how many truthers, real truthers, these are the ones who are prepared to actually to take the alternatives and integrate them, you know, bring forth change. How many do you think there is, really? In Britain?
Many truthers?
In Britain. Yeah. I don't mean the ones who were all the keyboard jockeys who were just sat there behind it, you know, passing on all the other stuff.
I think that's really an impossible question to answer. I don't think that's possible to answer. I mean...
I went for 35, me, in England, Ireland, Scotland and Wales. There was actually 35 people.
I'm sure I know 35 personally.
Well, I tell you what, I need to get out more, me, don't I?
When you're talking about truthers, what exactly are you defining as a truther as such? Are you talking about somebody that's on the radio or somebody that's out actively trying to spread the truth, or what are you defining as a truther?
People who actually create it. They actually make the new thing. They go and do the thing, you know.
It's the truth.
They live it.
Yeah, ones who are living it. You know, like like we were touching earlier on natural law, the people that live it. You know, I reckon you only need one to keep it alive, to keep it vibrant. You only need one. I suppose I could spread that out and say, well, you only need one person on Earth, really. I mean, and I'm sure there's a damn sight lot more than one. You know, that's what I'm getting at. And we don't. Maybe we don't need all these hundreds of thousands. And I was using the words of the prophet Bill Hicks, you see. Why are we bothering about all the stupid people? Why are we bothering about all the genetic stupid people, you know? Why do we get positive drug stories on the telly? You know, why do we always find out about genetically stupid people who are murdering one another, and then the even more stupid people who think it's all right, so they film it? I mean, do we really need to save them all? I'm only playing devil's advocate, of course.
I don't think it's up to us to save them all.
Some people are...
Paul, I thought you discovered that you have no power over another.
But there is people that are kind of at that in-between stage where they're kind of... The seeds are planted and they're considering things, but they're not quite ready. But, you know, it'll take something to trigger that. Really welcome to that point. But there is people who've got potential to fully... It's kind of like head in the sand syndrome.
Oh, well,
so it's like they know something's wrong, but it's like they're not ready to face it.
Yeah, well, I'm saying both.
It's not that they're stupid; they're just like in a state of cognitive dissonance.
Yeah, I think I have to agree. I was trying to get out. You know, I was playing devil's advocate a bit, and also trying to talk myself into an early retirement. I was actually kind of hoping that we could just do it with a few of us. You know. I just kind of lie down and create this perfect...
I think nature takes care of an awful lot of our problems with the genetically stupid, inverted commas.
There are a few people who'd like to be messiahs in the truth movement, for sure.
Can I sign up for being genetically stupid?
But usually that's just before they crash completely.
What was that statement, Robo? We've heard very little from you. What was that?
I'm just saying, can I sign up for being genetically stupid? Oh, I want to be part of that.
It depends how much fluoride you take.
Jim, you can be the new leader of the genetically stupid people. You can be like the Pied Piper.
I've got one of them voices coming into my head again. It was like divine will, divine being, and them and us and stuff. This divine being, which we truly are, would really truly see this. It would only see a reflection of itself. But it just keeps coming in my head over and over and over again. It's not quite right, but... And the word namasty.
I can get where you're on at, man. I really do get where you're at. Like I say, I'm playing devil's advocate a little bit there. Definitely, you know. I don't want to save anyone, but I think everybody should have the opportunity to save themselves, and I don't think they've had it.
And that is where the key lies, because people cannot be saved. They have to save themselves. They have to realise they have to be responsible for their own awakening to a degree. You know, you can plant the seeds, but they have to actually, you know, do the work to learn what's going on. They have to...
Yeah, all we can do is provide the information or point in the right direction or plant the seed, as you say. Yeah. And then it's up to the person, the individual, what they do.
And Bob said earlier that he discovered that he didn't have power over anyone else, only over himself. And this is the thing. When we stop trying to seek power over others and just have power over ourselves. Do you know the word Swami in India? You meet these Swamis. Swami actually means a man who knows himself and is master of himself. He's not master of anyone else. He doesn't claim mastery of anything else except himself.
I would only ever say I master myself. Why would I? Look, I'm not saying I couldn't control others. I could. You know, that's why I don't blame anyone. Yeah, I had to sacrifice that. I had to sacrifice the control of others.
Yeah.
To control myself.
And master yourself.
That's right.
Desire to control others goes right out the window.
You're there controlling others, right? You don't know you're doing it. If you knew you're doing it, as I realised I was doing it, you change instantly. Yeah.
Exactly.
Instantly it happens, and your friends, family think what's happened to you, you know, or you've gone crazy, you've gone nuts, or I mean, in my case, people were going, "Wow, what happened? You look really well." You look young, you look 15 years younger. And I'm like, I look in the mirror and I was seeing this burnt out old bloke at 48 years of age. I really was. And it took other people to go, what are you talking about? Look again. Look again. You're getting younger, you're getting more vibrant. You know, you're putting on weight, you're looking good. And look at them around you. And I did. And they're old and withered. That's what it does to us. You know, that's what I was doing to myself. Over and over again. It drains us. It's a force of life.
People can be their own worst enemy. You know, I'm my own worst enemy sometimes, you know.
I tell you what, if you're going to find your own enemy, right, and you find out it's you, the good thing about it is you'll always be close to your enemy. You'll always know what you're up.
Yeah, well, that's your enemy's close.
As soon as you find out it's you, you can change it. This is the whole thing, is noticing in the moment that it's you doing it, causing it, creating it, and then you can change it immediately in that moment.
I like this.
And every subsequent moment that you notice it, change it.
Totally judgmental here, but I do like this. I'm enjoying this. You lot talking. I'm going to carry on. Go on.
Paul needs a slurp of tea.
Yeah, we got one.
It's, do you know what it is? Excuse me, I'm moving around a little bit. You know, a while ago, me and Jim, we sat back. What are we doing? Why are we doing it? You know, do we need this? Do we really need to kind of put ourselves through all the hard work and the time and the effort and the letdowns and the excitement?
No.
You still think that?
Carly and I didn't choose our battle. We did choose it and we didn't choose it. We set it up by not paying road tax. But we didn't choose a particular date or occasion or way that it happened or anything. You know, you just head off in a direction that seemed sensible at the time, and things happen. That's the way it's always happened, has it not?
Yeah, well, I disagree with it, man. You know, we've said a few times we're creating it, aren't we?
Yeah, just so.
So that I suppose that's where we end up with. We each and every one of us makes our own little personal stand. You know, like I say, I got myself into a position here, me, where I could actually sell it all up and go and live if I go to Africa, I can have half a dozen Earthships. I could actually pay for an Earthship community.
Yeah.
Are you with me? Why should I? Why should
they're poisoning everywhere, and you know we've got to take a stand somewhere really to change things.
It looks like it's here for me, man. I mean, like I say, even the authorities insist that I come back. You've got to come back and make a stand. What do you do? All right. If you do come back, we'll get you. But you've got to come back. You know, it's as if they want it. Like, they really do want it. Although they try and coerce, and they're just like children. They really just the same as everybody else. They just want to be hugged. They want to be embraced. They want to feel at home. They want to feel safe. You know what? Who doesn't? Who doesn't? And this is our home. It doesn't matter who we were or what we've done. It doesn't. This is our home. We all live here on this planet together. Wherever we might think we've come from, that's the truth. That is truth. You know, if you think you're a part of a group, it's all right. You created that illusion. You know, because you were inadequate. You didn't feel strong enough to stand on your own. What are groups? What are they? For people?
Well, I guess because we actually, as this human species, we cannot survive without the support of one another. We couldn't survive alone against the elements, not very well, at least. So we work in cooperation, and that's where groups spring from.
Humans survive in all kinds of elements all over the world. I mean, we survive in sub-zero temperatures, out in the middle of deserts, and you know, Aborigine people wandered their land for generations.
Units or whatever it might be, as tribes. It's a very seldom you come across an individual living in the wild on their own.
Nowadays, yeah, but like I say, we can. Of course we can. I mean, if we come together and work, look what we've done as a slave race. You know, we've built bridges. You know, we've built infrastructures and you know, for a slave race, we're not that bad. We're real.
I mean, competent.
Well, I won't go that far, but. You know, we have achieved loads, and for me, it's like almost we're going to accelerate. It's going to be that fast. None of us are going to be able to keep up with it. We've got to get a trust, a worldwide trust. We've got to do that. We've got to take away these tyrants, knowing because we can't trust one another at the moment. And it's not that, you know, the Canadians and the Europeans and the English and the Australians who are listening to us right now, not us. We can trust one another because we can trust ourselves.
Indeed, yeah. I was asked a few years ago, actually, did I trust such and such a body? And I said, well, it doesn't really matter because I trust myself.
And do you know, when we were at Camp Autolift, there was a guy who came along who claimed he was a barrister, yeah, and we got into all sorts of stuff, and eventually we found out that actually he wasn't a barrister at all. He was a con man. And you know, people asked me how I felt about that, and I said, well, do you know, we're surrounded by con men. All the law is a big con, all government is a con, policing is a con, social services is a con. It's all a big fucking con. They're all con men. You know, and you just got to treat them on face value, and you know,
even people that pretend to be barristers.
Sure.
And, you know, as long as you trust yourself, you just keep on keeping on. Oh God. Oh God. Right.
No, it's still okay.
You know what, there's loads of things I really want to or would like to beat a drum about, but I'm feeling really tired and weak and not very well. So.
Oh. So we've lost Dawn from the conversation for the moment.
Well, you might as well read your poem while it's quiet.
Oh yeah, well I could do that. I don't know, it's gone. Oh, so I have. Yeah, I can just pull it up. Let's have a little look here.
Okay, people.
Kaz's poem. Well, actually, I wrote it, but She's claimed it. It's called On Realizing Gaia's Worth. When I wake with big ideas or burdened with my deepest fears, now filled with hope or dark despairs, will you let me be me? If I should choose to bear this state, accepting it as a precious fate, a life to which I can relate, would you let me be me? When I become obsessed with truth, as passionate as teenage youth, and find authority uncouth, will you let me be me? When I go off to save the earth, on realizing Gaia's worth, if I pronounce my nature peace and love and joy, and seek release, a way to set my spirit free, will you let me be me? And there you go.
Round of applause, babe.
Could you repeat that? Because I was typing away and I want to listen.
Don't
No.
make him listen to it now. You'll have to sit through.
Right. Are you sitting comfortably?
I can find another one.
Oh, he's looking for another one now.
Yeah, well, otherwise they'll sit there and they'll listen to the podcast and say, oh, it's again, oh, yeah. Or maybe it's a good thing.
I don't know.
It's all too confusing for
But
me.
it's such a lovely poem, babe, and I think everybody deserves to hear it, now that they're not typing. Okay. Everybody listening.
When I awake with big ideas, or burdened with my deepest fears, now filled with hope or dark despairs, will you let me be me? If I should choose to bear this state, accepting it as precious fate, a life to which I can relate, would you let me be me? When I become obsessed with truth, as passionate as teenage youth, and find authority uncouth, will you let me be me? When I go off to save the earth, on realizing Gaia's worth, if I pronounce my nature peace and love and joy, and seek release, a way to set my spirit free, will you let me be me? So there you go.
Brilliant. Is that all right now, Robo?
Yeah.
You recorded that time wrong.
No, we're just going to make excuses then. I'm not. Thank you very much. I enjoyed your poetry. Your first one you did, I don't know how to describe it really. The way you sort of changed perspective and the style of text, it sort of did a weird curve. And that's good. That was really good poetry, mate. Nice one.
Yeah, the
Delhi one.
Definitely, yes. Yeah, I've got to agree. I mean, I'm not taking away anything from that one, but yeah, man, you were there. You were there.
Full of colour, that's Delhi. Yeah.
Yeah, I've not been to Delhi.
We've got a wordsmith. I like wordsmiths.
So I don't know if
a cunning linguist, I think.
I don't know if we've only got about 8 minutes left because we've got Blue Neddy's on at 11. So he starts at. Did I just say he starts at 11? There you go, I didn't I? And we've got Susan's just joined us. I was making a point. I don't know if she's actually there. An audio.
Australia. There is another.
Yeah, she's over in Australia, and I've been making this point about us getting out there into the world. So I just wondered whether Susan was there with us. Are you there, Susan?
Aye, there I am.
Hey, there you go. We made it. We've got an Australian already on the server. I thought it might have been you listening in, Susan. And Canada and America and Europe, Britain. So, yeah, it's just really cool that you're here in the last few minutes of the show. And that kind of seals it, right? We just made a big ring around the earth now.
Right.
So you're just waking up, are you, Susan?
Yeah, sort of, yeah, pretty much. Yeah, waking up to another lovely day.
Yeah, you can hear that, actually. We're all here, like, at the end of our night going, hello, Susan, yeah. It's like, yeah, all right, I'm just waking up. What have you done? You brought me on live, haven't you, onto the radio? You can hear it. I can hear it in your head. There's that B word there, right in the back of your conscience. Go on, you can call me that one if you want.
And we just had some more votes on the Darkcity website. So thank you for the people who voted.
Oh, yeah, you can do that. You can actually vote for us. We needed 100 votes to get the free.
Yeah.
You remember?
Let me vote. I tried.
The free podcast.
I'll spam it around Facebook and
No.
stuff.
Well, you can do that. So you can do whatever you want. But what I'm trying to get at is we needed 100 votes to get the podcasting, free podcasting. See, we thought that's brilliant. It'll be up there. You can get them down yourself. It turns out each of the podcasts are only an hour, so we've just used 3 hours worth of podcasts up. And you can't download them. What?
That's a bit rubbish.
Hang on a minute. We've just won the prize you can't have. But again, Caster that we use, it's in a beta, so it will be there eventually. So yeah, the Vox. But anyway, it's a bit of fun. You can hit the heart, you get to hit a heart, you get to give Darkcity a vote. We are currently in the ratings amateurs. We are still amateurs, and now I like being an amateur. And if people hit that button, well, I do. I love being an amateur. It comes from the French, to love. You see, amour. That's where it comes from, amateur, for the love of. So, I love to do it. Why would I want to be a pro? Why would I want to be a professional? Oh, get away with you. Exactly. No, thank you very much. I will remain an amateur. And if people keep voting, then eventually we will lose our amateur status and we will have to do the long walk. We'll have to do the long walk. Like the judges that came before us. No, I won't go down. I won't go down and get too much into my comic strip universe inside my consciousness. But brilliant show. Do you want to throw anything in, folks? I just want to say thanks to all of you for joining us. You've got about 4 minutes.
I'll give you another quick poem. Yeah. Excuse me, sir. I see there's an error. It says here you're fighting a war against terror. Major Smith said, and George Bush repeated, that one day you'll have this terror defeated. But I don't believe that it's terror you meant. I think you're fighting a war on dissent. You say that your aim's full spectrum dominance, global supremacy, USA prominence. You're killing for peace and imposing democracy, imprisoning freedom. That's blatant hypocrisy. It's blindingly clear as we huddle in fear. Whether we protest or whether we cower, we're crushed by the heel of American power.
So don't protest. Just get out there and live it.
Yeah, pocket full of seeds. Plant an artichoke. I reckon artichoke can be the new symbol, I think. They seem to be able to grow an artichoke anywhere. And it starts with heart. You can't go wrong with that. And really what's been happening is our hearts have been choked. Yeah, so, I was a secret potato planting ninja, you see. I've been secretly in planting potatoes all over the place. But I might move into the artichoke. I think the artichoke might be the new symbol of revelation. Is that like liberation? No, that's liberation. There you go.
Yeah.
So there'll always be something to eat, even if it does make you fart an awful lot.
I actually tried them tonight. After it was Sarah, and we had a bit of fun with weeds growing, and that we were good at growing weeds, and we are good at it. And I actually, tonight, I looked down, I only had a few potatoes left. I had enough, but I thought, I need to get some more potatoes, I won't use them. Oh, look at that, I've got a load of artichokes. And I simply just peeled a couple of them, sliced them up, and I chipped them. Just threw them in with my normal potatoes. Now, they're tasty. They are tasty, but they don't make a chip like, I'm a bit particular on me chips. I'm a northerner. They've got to be done right with the right potatoes, So they don't, but they were tasty, I'll tell you what. The kids would love them. Crispy on the outside, soft in the middle,
Yeah.
They're not like a crispy potato crisp, they're a bit soggy, but...
Yeah.
But do you know that the other way is just to cook them in butter? They're lovely.
Well, I've got about 300 weight of them to get through. If people don't turn up and we've got a lot of artichokes. Nigel took to a local restaurant, and the chef there made them up into artichoke soup, and they put it on the menu. So we have actually, although we haven't done a great deal on the land with that. And they actually took a big basket last summer of fruit and donated it to the council of produce off the allotments, just as a token gesture. She showed them,
Yeah, this is what we're doing with the land.
Yeah, well, you've been sat here getting fat and rich on our money. That's what we've had to do, It's the top and bottom of it,
Yeah, cool. That makes so much sense.
Anyway,
you're on the hour, Bob.
We've got to get off. I'm getting Balloonhead. He's shouting at me. He's dead right.
Yeah.
He's here. He's here. The Balloonhead is in the house, ladies and gentlemen. We have to depart. I tell you what, these hippie travellers, they're all the same. He's going to come and throw us all out now. Typical, eh? Typical. Anyway, it's been a great show. We've kept Don's seat more than warm, I think. We've left it pretty piping hot for him. So, and a big thanks to Don, and good luck out there. He is out there on a bit of a mercy mission, helping out some people. It's private stuff, and he just let us know that. So Don will be back on his normal spot, hopefully, if he isn't, we haven't... Well, we'll have him here then. I think he might be here in Manchester then, if his plan works out. So that might be fun. We might be able to do a Saturday night special after the digging that's going on down here. So anyway, I'm going to get off. We're in a minute into Balloonhead's time. He's there on the server, and good stuff. Where am I going? I'm going over here. Thank you very much. I've lost the button. Somebody's closed it, and they've moved. Good night, everyone. Good night. Thanks for joining us.